And thank you for joining us. I'm Alero Edu, and this is Sunrise.
Good morning. It's Saturday morning.
Obviously.
It's, just so you are reminded, there's something that I do on daily. Today is 23 September. Yeah, 2023. Yeah, that's right. September 23, 2023. Look at that rhyme. That's the way songwriters start, you know. 2023. Yeah. Anyway, so you were saying?
My partner is now a rapper.
No. Is it rapper or rapper?
Kotie, do you want to rap?
Please. Ewúrẹ́ inú ìwé kì í kàn yàn, ejò inú ìwé kì í bù yàn jẹ, agbádá kì í ní po. You should be giving me the beats, please, don't.
I am rocking to it.
No. That's a cappella. You don't do rap on a cappella like that. That's freestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do I know?
What do you know? You know, other than to play it on radio.
What do I know?
What do I know? Just play it on radio. See, rhymes. Ain't easy. Oh, as Adam would say, it isn't easy.
My partner is somewhere else this morning.
Oh, well, when you have a cup of cocoa this morning...
I'm sure somebody's having cocoa out there, but whichever one suits you, it's fine. It's fine. Just make sure that you are part of today's program. Yeah. In the course of the week, we read that before the year comes to an end, that the price of cooking gas will probably reach 18,500, which wasn't good news for many women.
It could never be good news, even for be it domestic or retail. You know,
well, it is currently 10,500, up from 8,000.
Well, I don't know. It's not good news. There's no doubt about it. It's not good news because expenses are increasing, income isn't increasing. It is certainly something to worry. But I can only give myself one hope, Alero, and that is the hope that we have heard over time, that it'll get worse before it gets better.
The renewed hope?
I don't know about that one.
Okay, all right.
But we've heard it said by economists and the rest of them, it'll get worse before it gets better. But even now, there's still in the same spirit, perhaps, a good number of people are saying, okay, so are we in a completely deregulated economy now? Because the paper said in the course of the week that it seems subsidy is back, or is it creeping back in?
It's creeping back, we're told.
Because if it's a fully liberalized economy, sector, by now, fuel price should have increased.
With the price of crude going up.
Fuel price should have increased.
Yes.
We haven't started producing in country. And there's another report that says modular refiners and even Dangote, I think, have abandoned the idea because subsidy is coming back in. So it's a whole mix that government needs to address frontally. Please, can states get in the mix?
And while all this is going on, you spoke about prices going up and incomes not going up. All those negotiations and all those warning strikes and everything, we're expecting government to respond within the next few weeks. And we expect to hear news about incomes, well, minimum wage going up. But is minimum wage going to go up enough to cover what inflation has caused? Because inflation is now at what, 25.8%?
Yeah.
So it seems like even with the increase in incomes, there will still be cries for increase because it still will not, people will still not be able to meet their needs, even though they have, well, even though they seem to have more money in their pockets than they had.
You know, well, that's a very smooth and wonderful, angle to the conversation. And there are those who would say, while it's very, very biting, the stories we're having and all of those things, there are those who would also always point to the fact that foreign nations, the West, it's far costlier to live in those countries.
Yeah, but they don't earn 30,000 naira as minimum wage.
That's one.
And they have safety nets.
Two, and also the systems work.
Yeah.
The system, so if I have, for instance, a medical emergency, I will feel safe.
Yeah.
because I know that I will be taken care of.
Yes.
If there is a fire anywhere around me, there was a fire somewhere along around the airport road yesterday, I heard. There was I don't know whether it was yesterday, I couldn't confirm it, but I think it was, that some hotel got burnt, got razed to the ground.
2 days ago.
And imagine, there was no fire service close by until it got as bad as it did. In those clients that we're referencing, while things don't always, because it's always going to be the human factor, but there is always what they call a response time. Lagos State government worked on that for some time. How is it now? So it's a whole mix. So while we agree that yes, other nations may not be, it may be a lot costlier to live in those places, but then the systems work. Micro, small, and medium enterprises are able to pay taxes and still feel safe.
Yeah.
They charge hourly.
Because they see what the government is doing with the taxes that they pay.
Exactly.
And what is militating against people wanting to pay taxes in Nigeria is that people don't seem to see what the monies are used for.
Exactly.
But they hear of somebody who is hiding some billions somewhere, of some snakes and monkeys eating money, eating, as in they feed on money.
Well,
I mean,
maybe it's delicious.
Those stories are so ridiculous.
Maybe it's delicious.
We've turned ourselves into a laughing stock.
Hey, calm down. Hello? Hi.
As they say in Nigeria now, be coming down. be coming down. But it is the truth.
Well,
Remember when Governor Fashola, ex-Governor Fashola was in Lagos, and we heard about how Okada riders were asking where tax offices were because they wanted to go and pay their taxes. And
especially because the communication was good. This is taxpayers' money at work. The government that came in after that didn't sustain that culture, and I wish it had been sustained. But hey, where were we? Talking
about taxes. Somebody in Etiosa called me yesterday and said that she was not feeling the presence of Etiosa local government. She was not feeling the presence of Lagos State in that area because all the roads in that area seems to have just been abandoned. Even the new flyover that was being built, the new roads that were being constructed, all seem to have been abandoned. So a journey of 20, 30 minutes now takes about 3 hours. And like I mentioned last week, at every traffic light, at every junction that there's a traffic light, the road is so bad that the light is green, but the vehicles are not moving.
The vehicles are red. I think we all forgot what the initiative of the former Lagos State governor, now president, was when he said we need to create more local government areas, which eventually became local council development areas, was to take development closer to the people.
Well,
in the Constitution, and I wish we had, prepared this show, in the Constitution, part of the functions of the local government is construction of roads.
I have lived in Lagos for more than 60 years. I don't think I've ever heard of any local government constructing road. But I may be wrong.
Ask the Lagos State government or any state government why that is not happening. Yes, I agree there are tiers of roads. But for God's sake, the local government system is supposed to construct roads as well.
Have we not discussed the matter of the local governments many times on this program?
Okay.
And why they're not working?
Okay, so let's go to the menu.
Thank you. Okay, we shall start today by talking about the state of the nation.
That's a biggie. Yeah. And then quite a number of things to bring to your attention. Finn Green's Seeding Financial Literacy is up next after that.
And then St. Finbarr's College, they're having a memorial lecture that they want to tell us about.
Jolly. Now, remember Junior Achievement? Well, it's back. Junior Achievement, Nigeria's 2023 VIM program. We'll be talking about that.
And then, of course, we have our lifestyle segment, which we'll be talking today about preventive lifestyle against heart disease.
Pay attention. I hear that thing now, it doesn't know age. And the artist of the week. Sorry.
It is okay, no, he is a he.
He's a he human being.
As we said at the beginning, grab your cocoa or your
cocoa, like this one.
Sit back.
Yeah.
And enjoy.
You are welcome to the next level. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you look at person, now stagnation. When I look my side, now okay. One day, our Niger go do. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind. We must fight for our right. Anyhow, man, boss, die you. This next level, now hot water, bubble up. Then just to do what you see them with their big belly. Then go they use religion to cause plenty confusion. Sometimes the tribalism, poverty and nepotism. When hunger fire person, you go weak, you no go fit talk again. Today, I say, please go blow. Fire on yash go open there. Masquerade the face go show. Hey, today, I say, para woko no. Say the owner there for house. Bad leaders then go. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you look at person, now stagnation. When I look my side, okay. One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. One day, our mumu go do. Now so we talk. This country take our hand. Rise up and take it command. We they see them, we know they blind. We must fight for our right. Anyhow, man, boss, die you. Again, we no know waiting kill him, papa. That same thing go kill him. Hey. You are welcome to the next level. When I look up, now commotion. When I look down, now frustration. When I look at my side, now to reach the top, now connection. If you look at person, now stagnation. When I look my side, now okay. One day, our Niger go good. Now so then they talk. demand. Rise up and take it command. We dey see them, we know they blind, oh. We must fight for our right, oh. Anyhow, man boss die, oh, yeah. This next level, now hot water, bubble up. They just they do what yeah. See them with their big belly. Then go they use religion to cause plenty confusion. Sometimes the tribalism.
Okay, we're back. It's Sunrise, by the way. You wanted to say something? Oh, yeah. Before we go on, having that conversation earlier about whether or not what local governments do. A former commissioner of transport in Lagos sent us this one. It says, local government in Lagos did not only construct roads, they also do hospitals, markets, drainage, among others. Yearly, like some others, my local government rehabilitates and constructs not less than 5 streets for as long as I can remember. Okay, so please help us also understand why a 20 or 30-minute journey still takes 3 hours or more along the Lekki corridor.
In many corridors in Lagos.
Well, let's start from there.
Yeah, okay. Now, let's get the program on the show in earnest. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday in New York said, and I quote, "The world will ignore Nigeria at its own peril." And to prospective investors, he said, I quote, "Nigeria is an opportunity that is impossible to replicate or find elsewhere in any part of the world." He also said, sincerely, we don't have any reason to be poor. We're just poor in some leadership areas. Some would say in all leadership areas. That poor leadership has been our problem is not a hidden fact. And like we were saying at the beginning of the program, Nigerians love Nigeria. They just don't trust government. That's a different thing entirely.
I mean, like?
They don't like and they don't trust government. 594 megawatts at midnight to an alarmingly low 42.7 by midday. This marks the 3rd time that the grid would collapse within a month. Nigeria's soaring economy, God, it looks like, excuse my French, it looks like our problems are just myriad. Our inflation rate has gone to 25.8. Minimum wage is still 30,000 naira. The naira was floated, and we were told that it would improve our situation, but now the naira is exchanging for 1,000 pieces to $1.
You're asking all the questions already.
I'm just listing our problems. Okay. We're talking about the state of the nation. This is the state our nation is in. How are investors going to come in? How are people going to start up businesses when they have to bring in equipment by changing buying $1 for 1,000 naira?
Good question.
Okay, these are questions we're going to ask our guests this morning. We have a panel of 2 legal practitioners and 1 social commentator. Godi Uwazurike is a legal practitioner. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Thank you for joining us. And so is Tony Dania. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
And social commentator Abiodun Showumi is also with us this morning.
Good morning, viewers.
Thank you. Let me start with the social commentator. Among the things that the president said to the diasporians was that they should come home. Nigeria is now like a beautiful bride. All of you come home and take advantage of the situation in the country now. Would you be saying that to any Jakbarians?
Honestly speaking, I've never believed in the theory of people jackpotting out of the country for obvious reasons. They are different from people who are going abroad to seek further knowledge or to gain new skills, understand new technologies, That they are totally different. The whole idea of Japa is people who feel frustrated, by the economic situation or perceived lack of opportunities, to actualize their dreams. So they are actually the people living the country. Many of them quite young people who believes that luxury life exists elsewhere, and they need, to be part of that life. They don't want to live in a country where there is no regular light and all that. Forgetting the fact that other countries started from somewhere, and they used to be where we are. We don't need to be where we are currently, but we are there. But at the end of the day, the whole theory of Japa is not really progressive for the country, because many of them will still eventually come down. I have lived there. I know what it is for 20 years. So I understand how those society functions and the frustration of those societies, which they will now encounter. And many of them are beginning to think about it. So the idea of people living for those reasons, to me, it's out of it. But people need to live. You cannot stop labor from moving. As long as capital, moves, labor would move. No doubt about that.
Two things that you need to speak with on that very quickly. Number one, as far back as the 80s, you would definitely remember the Andrew saga.
Yes.
It is not new.
Yes.
People leave the country.
Yes.
All the time. Whether or not they will come back, I don't know about that. And we have lived on hope almost all of our lives. In 1986, I think, when the debut of the Under-17 World Cup happened, Nigeria won that cup. Was it 1986?
It's 1987.
It's
1987.
It was 87?
Yeah,
okay.
87, yeah.
So it was that year that Ebenezer Obey, after that victory, he sang a song and said, this Nigeria is still going to be better. Nigeria is still going to be sweet. That was 1987, almost 40 years now. Lagbaja sang a song in the 90s into the 2000s, Nigeria must sweet again. And one of the songs we've played this morning, Charlie Boy, go good. One day, our Nigeria go good. So, but things are still the way they are. My colleague began by speaking about the fact that Nigerians love Nigeria, but have very, very cautious optimism or feelings about government. So, where's the encouragement?
Okay. I would also add another song to it. I love my country. I no go like.
Well, there are those who will call that a satire.
I go live and die.
There are those who will call that a satire.
Correct.
Written by Wole Soyinka.
Yes, correct. But the song is about tolerance and endurance and people being able to find relevance within their own country, rather than hoping that there's a life outside, some other people from somewhere will solve the problem for us in our own country or leave. And I think that's exactly the message Tinubu is trying to communicate to Nigerians in diaspora, to say, look, whatever many people think about this country, it's a land of opportunities. It's full of very highly skilled people. Not only that, we have the human resources, we have the market. It's the biggest black country in the world, in terms of population. And not only that, it has huge opportunities for investment, which at this critical point in our history, we need the investment. We need the stream of income in terms of foreign exchange from the diaspora into our country. And I think that's the message Tinubu is trying to communicate to people in diaspora.
Tony, do you not think that this message of the president is premature? Because the very reason for which these Jakparians, Jakbad, still exist. There is still no power. There's still no good road. The law still doesn't work as it should. People are circumventing the law depending on who you are and who you know. Those things still exist. Yes. It's not as if much has improved since they left the country.
Well, every president
we canvass for investment. So it's natural. And every president will want to sell the country positively. So that is what the president is doing. But however, I admit that we have marriage of problems, and we've been having it. But it has dawned on me that we have also been making progress pari passu at the same time with this problem. For instance, you cannot say things are the same as it were in the 80s. We were not having GSM in the 80s. We have GSM now. Even when Cotonou had GSM, we were not having GSM. Mainly we had GSM. Are you aware that we are about the 5th consumer of GSM wares in the world? So then we have, gone up in the production of rice too. I'm a lawyer. When some clients come to complain about things they want to go and do abroad, I encourage them, why can't we do it here? Nigeria is one of the highest exporter of cashew seedlings. The only thing we do with cashew seedlings here is fry it and eat. So what are the other people doing it with it? And they pay so much. So why can't we establish it here? So I think we need to address certain basic social and economic infrastructures here. One, once we improve on electricity generation, what was done to communication, if it is done to electricity, I'm telling you, not less than 30% of all, not one problem, all the problem, unemployment, security, and all that. If we improve on assessment to facilities, the medium and small-scale businesses, that's what is keeping India. If you go there, small businesses all over the places.
But you haven't answered her question. You said we are, you referenced the fact that the things are different in the 80s as opposed to now.
Yes.
Of course. But how come it's like the same cycle of things that happened in the 80s that are happening now? Remember, in these 80s we are talking about, the military took over because of one thing. Economy was getting worse. The Shagari government came up with the austerity measures. And the government of the day, the Buhari government at the time, overthrew the government and said, look, they wanted to do things better. Corruption was a problem. And on and on and on like that. So while it is sensible to say, indeed, we have improved, we have developed one way or the other, but it would seem like we take a step forward and drag some problems along with us.
Yes, that is why I said I admit that we have problems. I've said that. And then if you want to start specifying the problems, then we can go into certain details. For example, the people, you said it, the people don't trust the government. In those days, there was some level of trust. And when the military came in, the military did perform worse. There is a military leader that is still alive that legitimized corruption in this country. So we are aware of all that. I am saying that while we are trying to solve our problems, we should admit that we've made some progress. And then we should also put in place measures that will enhance more progress. That's what we are saying. So while you identify the problem, you suggest what you think are solutions to the problems. You know, we give it to the late Yaradua when he admitted openly that, look, I came in through process that is not too good. I will try and streamline it. And he set up a panel to work on it. So while I don't want to go into the judgment of the presidential election, the president is advised to also do what Yaradua was trying to do. We know that the process is shrouded in a lot of complex and improper, irregular activities. So the problem we have are there. Let's talk more of the solutions to the problem. Now, when you improve electricity, like I was saying, what you would have saved will be in the pocket of private person, not in government hands. You make me not to buy fuel all the time. You make me not to spend on my inverter. You make me not to service my generator. You create more room for the ordinary barber operating the small salon. So it will enhance a lot of things. Then when you now fix the road, we are beginning to see private company fixing road on terms. I don't know how true it is. I am aware Dangote is fixing the road Apapa down to, road and Oshodi road on tax waiver. So the government should look at other options. I am suggesting to the government, government of states, that look, you can fix 10 feeder roads. How you do it? Already, almost every street in Lagos State, I don't know if they have taken what do you call it, census of the streets we have. But almost every street has private security arrangement, which makes it easy to get intelligence. Almost every street are working on tying the street now. So what government can do is, if you tie your street, we knock off ground rent, we knock off this for you, encourage them, or we add so much for you to tie your street, provided you meet engineers' dictates and proposal on the street approved proposal on the street you want to tie. Then the youth are encouraged to embrace courtesan and Yahoo. How do you stop that? When they now see that wealth are celebrated, nobody asks how you become wealthy. Corruption is celebrated. The big people in the government who we know are corrupt are still there. So that will not help the youth. So the judicial system must be overhauled. Enforcement of laws must be handled properly. There's corruption in almost every segment of our society. The police, the fire service, it is the one you see that you know, but there are a lot of corruption activities everywhere. The government must lead with example. Finally, prudency. How many cars does a government official need, for example? Go to the current president of the Senate. How many cars does it have? How many does he have? How many staff and aides are working with him? How many does he really need? If we run a government business as if we are running private business, it will be good for us. I cannot employ 10 aides. I cannot use 10 cars. So go there and work like you are, you are working for yourself. I mean, you're running your own company. Yeah. But despite the problems we have, I have hope. Just like you have been saying, obey, talk about it.
We've been talking about that hope, as I said, forever. But okay, Chief, respond to this as your own first. I mean, it's around the same thing. Usman Santuraki from Adamawa State sent this one in. Says, the Japa issue will continue to make Nigerians leave the shores of the country because all the successive administrations failed the country woefully. At this time, electricity supply is epileptic, is still epileptic. Production of almost everything is low. Corruption is at every door, be it at the government and private levels. Leading me to that question that I wanted to put to him. When he said there's corruption everywhere. I find that very interesting because everywhere is literally everywhere, including in homes.
Yes.
Well, I think our friend Usman is very correct in identifying some things. But the greatest problem or the worst problem we have today is called poverty of leadership. For the common man, his greatest problem is poverty of thought. Because that failure of leadership is what leads people to look for the shortest means of getting what they want. People are selling their homes. People are resigning their jobs to go out there to Japa. Some walk through the desert because the situation is hopeless and helpless. Some stow away in ships inside container. They live there for weeks. Half of them will die. But they said, one way or the other, I must go out. Moving out is a natural thing. When I was growing up, send-off was done for those traveling. And then when they're coming back, another reception is held. It was a big issue. You finish reading, you come back. You have a place. But today, you finish reading, you don't come back. Many people have left Nigeria and are doing one-way traffic. They're not coming back because they see no hope here. Now, if you look at those who were very young in 2014, 2015, a man called Buhari was coming in. Many people thought he was a messiah. APC came in, promises. One of them was reduction of cost of governance. Hope for the youth. Tomorrow is your own, and so on. We even have a youth voting law and so on. 8 years had passed. What happened? Those who were earning 18,000 when Jonathan was there were earning that in some states up till today. So that sense of helplessness, that sense of hopelessness is rising higher. Today, what is the cost of living? Skyrocketing. And you're telling a young person, don't worry, tomorrow will be better.
On that, if you don't mind me butting in, Chief, very quickly, I find it curious. It costs an average of 20 million naira to relocate outside Nigeria, and that's perhaps being cheap. Is it the person that earns 18,000 naira or even 30,000 naira minimum wage now that is relocating? If anyone could come up with 20 million naira, put it all together, is it, as Mr. Daniel said the other time, is it too difficult to encourage that person, or for that person to be encouraged to find some way of investing that same resource?
Let me even go further. Why would somebody sell his house in order to travel and go and sleep on the streets? It is what they're looking forward to, that sense of helplessness, sense of hopelessness. In other words, you see no future in this country. Now, let me continue from where I stopped about the cost of governance. We have how many ministers today? 47, 48. For each of them, you have about 10 personal staff who work with him. All of them paid by government. You have about 10 cars. And those personal staff also have their own assistants paid by government. So the cost of governance has gone up. The National Assembly is a natural disaster in terms of expenditure. So many people look forward to this government doing those things we have been campaigning, even here, called restructuring. Those who are doing campaigning for restructuring have left in frustration because this government, like the previous ones, do not care about the youth, about the future. What do they do with their own children? Even at 1,000 naira to $1, they send them abroad. By the time they finish, they arrange their youth service. Before we know it, they have become the novel rich. In other words, this ordinary man who does not have access to 20 million looks for ways to even up.
Okay. Well, Mr. Showomi, I'm sure you have a response or two to that. But there are some, going by what Mr. Daniel said about us looking for solutions, is it too early to criticize the federal government? One. Two, how about the states? It seems like most of the time when we're having these conversations, we seem to excuse the states.
Yes, well, in the first instance, I still think it's too early to appraise the Tinubu's administration. This regime is under 120 days in office. No doubt about that. It has come...
That being said, there were 100 days last week, and they were appraising themselves. So what stops us from also appraising them?
Criticizing
No,
them.
well,
The first 100 days off.
Yes, within the context of the impact of the policy initiatives taken by this administration, there is no way how you can accurately assess this administration until when we see the impact on the people. Don't forget, policies take time.
We have seen the impact, Mr. Showomi.
No,
people are poorer, people cannot eat, people cannot buy fuel, many cars are off the roads.
Look, these are the offshoots of policies taken aimed at correcting the defects within the economy. We should not forget where we were before Tinubu came in. 96% of the resources of this country was being used to service, debts.
Not pay.
Not to pay debts, to service them. Nigeria was grinding to a halt. We're about to be bankrupt. And then it's like cancer. When you have a cancerous problem, it requires operation. You have to carry out surgical operation, and it takes time before it can heal up. And what the government has tried to do now is to restructure the economy by deregulating the commanding heights of the economy. Basically, looking at the downstream sector of the economy, liberalizing the price of fuel with a view to attract investment. We have gone down to a point that we are only exporting, 800,000 barrels of oil a day, by late last year. Early this year, we're still exporting 1 million barrels. By July, we're exporting, about 1.2 million barrels a day. And now it's up to 1.6 million barrels a day. So obviously, there will be more revenue coming into the country. What we need to do is what the government is doing. One, we need to take Forex, what do they call it? PMS of the Forex table. if you don't take PMS off the forex table, you will not have the foreign exchange to keep in your reserve with a view to arrest the declining value of Naira. And once we manage to fix the refinery, which that is what I'm saying is a bit too early, we need to see what the government is doing within a year, whether they can get 1 or 2 refineries working. If they're unable to get it working, then of course, we should come heavily hard on the government. Once you take, the PMS off the forex table, you see that the Naira will start stabilizing. Contrary to what some people think, that immediately you fix the refinery, the price of PMS will crash. I don't. It will not necessarily work that way. It will reduce, but not crash. The simple reason is because the PMS price, the petrol price, depends on the value of a barrel of crude oil. That is what determines the derivatives, the cost of the derivatives. And if you take example of UK, for instance, where you have all refineries working, UK is exporting petrol, but at the end of the day, the price of a liter of fuel in UK is $1.87, and in Nigeria is still 80 cents. So it does not work the way people are looking at it. It will take some time. Once we stabilize the value of Naira, you cannot stabilize it because the Naira is tied to the dollar, except we have the foreign exchange in our reserves. Currently, we only have about $5 or $6 billion in our foreign exchange, contrary to what we were told, $33 billion before Buhari left. So we are in a very terrible situation economically, and that is what this administration has inherited. I'm glad Tinubu himself said nobody should pity him.
Okay.
He has for the job, he has it. Okay. But we need time, to evaluate the impact of his policies
on the people,
our economy, and see whether it will uplift the living standards of our people.
Yes,
Mr. Daniel.
Yes, while I agree with you, I commend the president is doing a lot of work, but I expected, I've said it here, when subsidy was removed, Alero, you remember, that he ought to have put in place cushioning measures first. Put in place populist policies before you start bringing in far-reaching policy. Because if you do not put in place cushioning measures, you will get the backlash that you are getting now. What the effort you are putting in will be dwarfed by criticism. Because people don't reason the way we are reasoning, you don't expect everybody to reason like us. What they want to see is that they are able to eat, they can pay transport, they can move. That's what they want to see. So if they cannot do that, you'll be receiving criticism. Whereas an in-depth analysis will indicate that Tinubu has good intention for the country. You understand? I am a maritime consultant, and I know that subsidy is a big fraud. I have prosecuted subsidy fraud in Nigeria, so I know it's a big fraud. So I was happy. But what I'm saying is that before you do such a thing, put in place certain things that people can fall back onto. That is one. Then 2, show example of prudency. We have a lot of ministry, we have a lot of parastatals that are not supposed to exist. For example, the National Identity Card is there. National Population Commission is there. Why are they are on retirement? They get retirement benefit when they leave the service. Why? Why can't we have a unit in a ministry to handle an action? Because of trust, because of corruption. Everybody wants to bring up. We have paramilitary agency being formed now. Before you know what, you put them, commission them, give them one name, they will be paid. This is wasting of funds. We should see an exemplary prudency on the part of the government.
So you are suggesting that government should merge some ministries?
Shrink
government.
I just gave you 2 examples. Yeah. National Population Commission, NIDC. Why are they separate? Okay. Why are they separate? It's not almost the same work. Identity card. Why can't National Population do ID card? There are a lot like that we can talk about.
Okay.
Now we've gotten a blue economy. Now we have MP and the others that are still under the Ministry of Transport. Why can't we have departments?
Okay. Chief, yes. You want to make a comment on that before? Because I heard you chuckling.
I have to. Because you have a Minister of State for Police Affairs. What does she do? You have Police Service Commission. You have Office Inspector General of Police. They have Minister for Police and Minister of State. So there is a complete wastage going on. If you look at this blue economy, I was asking somebody, the things that get from the sea, does that include fishery? Fishery is under Ministry of Agriculture. And some people are even campaigning for Ministry of Pastoral Affairs. You know, when I said
to deal with the cows.
Yes. When I said poverty of leadership, I mean every word of it. This is the way to go. This is the preparation you make. Explain to the people, communicate to the people what to expect. You will not do that. You will rather impose something. That is where removal of subsidy crashed the economy. Foreign exchange mishandling crashed the economy. Today, you expect somebody to bring in money into the country to invest. How does it take it out? ShopRite had to sell off because they were importing goods, $100 million. By the time they finish selling, it will amount to $60 million. They saw themselves losing. So they had to sell their shares and left. The same way an investor coming in must first inquire into our legal system.
So
What is the slang today? Go to court.
You don't see
Yes.
you don't see the value. You don't see value in what the president said on the floor of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce when he said, government is arranging the economy in such a way that you bring your money in, you can easily take it out whenever you want.
Yes. Well, before you make such a statement, you have to get prepared. In other words, lay the groundwork in the country.
Okay.
First and foremost, address Nigerians on what is happening and why you want to seal it up. Why is it that people still mention Murtala Mohammed nearly 50 years now? When he came in, he had to do some certain things. He lasted for 6 months.
Yes.
But that proactive measure he took, like Tinubu coming in, first and foremost, all those people Buhari put there, many of them were imposed from up, are still there. What are they doing?
Let me ask you, Mr. Daniel, because we're running out of time. Political considerations in the appointments and in some of the moves, how quickly or slowly do you think political considerations influence governance and impact on the people?
Well, the current dispensation shows that political consideration influenced to a very large extent the appointment and engagement of persons in governance, including the security agencies. What we need to entrench is far-reaching policies, infrastructure, things that will take care of them. Look at America. Look at what is happening to a whole tough former president. We don't have that here. Here, information are guided. Look at the acting governor of CBN. Do you know the damage that negative development will do to the economy?
That's true.
You understand me? Sorry to just digress a little bit. The Nigerian custom is under the Ministry of Finance, but they generate from the Blue Sea. They are the port. The national natural gas is under the oil and gas, but they have a company, National Natural Liquefied Gas Management of Vessel Limited, something like that, duplicating what NIMASA is doing. And it's under oil and gas.
Well,
then, sorry, please, I'm very sorry. Then, the blue economy, if properly harnessed, can generate twice what oil and gas is generating. It can. If the minister really want to work, I hope he's not coming there to gather money and go back and recontest.
okay. Well, Mr. Showumi, in all of this, and thankfully you are in this space, communication is the most important thing. No matter what you are doing, and there are a good number of people who continue to reference the Babangida government. He communicated, either by himself or by the agents he had around him. How? Because these are not very friendly policies. Even though they are helpful in the long run, but at this moment, from the pockets of people, they're not looking very, very. So how do you propose that government should do this engagement of the people, federal, state, local, particularly the largest demographic, the young people?
Yeah, communication is very key because you need to give hope to the hopeless, to people who feel they can't see a way out of the problems we found ourselves in. Of course, there's a way out. UK used to face the same situation in the 80s. If you remember, towards the late 80s, when the Sheffield industries and steel mines, the coal mines all collapsed, and Margaret Thatcher had to restructure the country along the line of what we're trying to do currently. Of course, it meant with a lot of resistance, but today Britain is better off for it. That is why we're trying to go there. Government needs to communicate precisely, and in very clear terms, what they are trying to do with the economy. We need to acknowledge the fact that people are going through a lot of pains, economic pains, difficulties, and then, empathize with them while at the same time giving them hope, letting them see the trajectory of events. For instance, you cannot solve the problem in the country without the state government. It's quite very important. Even though the federal government controls 52.68% of the resources, federal allocation, the state government gets 26%. But many people, look up to their state government, with a view to address some of the problems which we have in the country. One of the good things which government needs to communicate more effectively is what they are doing about the power sector. Because currently, without investing in that sector, we're not going to make any headway. But we now have major investment going into that sector. That has not been communicated to Nigerians appropriately. We should be looking at producing 20,000 megawatts of electricity. But it's been drowned by the collapse of the national grid today or tomorrow or yesterday. That is what people are seeing. So government has not been able, they need to do more, in terms of communicating to Nigerians so that and there must be clear timelines, to all policy initiatives so that people will be able to measure the impact of what government is doing in their lives.
We need to start winding down, but I just have to ask this question before I take your last words. Chief, he mentioned PMS and refining our own crude. And we were told when the Dangote opening was done, I think it was in June or May, that they would start production in July. That didn't happen. But last week, information came out again that they would start refining by October, that the fuel would go into the market in October, which is next week. October starts next week. How is this going to affect our lives and the price of fuel, do you think?
Well, it should affect our lives because, one, there will be no landing costs for the refined petroleum products. There will be no shipping costs. And if we are not exporting, there is no exporting cost.
Are you therefore saying that the price should come down a bit?
It should.
But,
Mr. Daniel, what do you think?
Definitely.
It should come down.
It will come down.
Mr. Shomi?
It will come down to some extent, but not drastically. It depends on the price of a barrel of crude oil.
At the time.
At the international market. At the
because
time.
we're going
if
to
it
sell
comes down,
to them
come
at
down
that
now.
price, at that international market price.
If the barrel of crude oil, comes down to $18 today, the whole thing will crash immediately.
No, sorry, sir.
Yes.
I disagree with you. The landing cost.
In one sentence.
Okay, in one sentence.
Yes.
We refine locally, like Chief said. You avoid a lot of overhead expenses.
Okay.
You don't need to search for forest.
Okay.
That is the most important one. You don't search for forest, and you are trading locally. You are using Naira.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that they must privatize. If I'm running a refinery, I want to make profit. This whole deceit it has been going on. Okay. I'm sorry to say this. Even the Dangote refinery, sorry to say, I've been hearing that it will come to pass. We were given the impression that it was 80% completed. We are in marine. We understand this thing. When they tell lies, I feel very angry when I see a lot of lies. You can't help it.
Your final word.
My final word is...
Yes, on the state of the nation.
Yes, we should improve on the security situation in the country, make fund available to medium and small scale, improve on the right, electricity, harness the talent we have. We've seen, I have a client I'm sponsoring, a fuel-less generator is at 50%. Okay. Without fuel.
All right.
Mr. Shomi.
Well, I think we need to bring down the cost of doing business in Nigeria, ensure that we are able to remove the landing cost, but at the bottom line at the end of the day is the price of a barrel of crude oil accounts for 80%. So we are expecting some reduction once the refineries are working, but it's not going to be drastic reduction the way it's being presented.
Okay. Chief.
First and foremost, stop destroying all these private refineries all over the Niger Delta. You are doing a lot of harm. All you have to do is streamline them, have standards, like you have standard organization. Then the young people who are there will start perfecting their system. Remember, Biafra did not import a liter of petrol.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was fuel in Biafra till the end of the war.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chief Godi Uwazurike, legal practitioner. And we also had another legal practitioner, Mr. Tony Dania, as well as social commentator, Oba. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Share your insights with us this morning. Sunrise will be right back with another interesting conversation, even though this was just a conversation opener when we talk about the state of the nation. We'll see you in just a moment.
Take it from me, the mind-blowing way to do things is the Glow LTE advanced way. When you stream, it's like you're in the drama itself. When you make calls, you reach where others can't. Cookie! Doing business is like running Wall Street from your street. And when you play,
I did beat the guy. We'll see about that.
It's like traveling the world without moving an inch.
Is that Toby in your room?
You can download in the blink of an eye in 4K.
Go.
And when you go for your dreams, it's like running with the strength of 3 nations behind you.
Glow LTE Advanced, the power of 3 data networks in one. Get a Glow SIM or dial *301#.
Now, let me tell you about Safari Valley Eco Resort, the first of its kind in West Africa.
Upon your arrival, you are introduced to your butler, who plans your itinerary.
We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park.
So many activities, all in the same premises. Visit the gym or the stables, they have it all. At my break, I'm able to practice my putting.
We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife and how to interact with them.
They used only electric vehicles here. This creates a serene environment. I'm told it's over 1,000 acres. My cabin here sits on 2 acres with a large terrace space overlooking my private swimming pool. Now this is royalty. They have their own farms, thousands of fruit trees. I can also have my lunch here at the waterfall. Quite a beautiful place you have here.
Visit Safari Valley Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
Thanks for calling Bastion HMO.
Thank you. Now that was my health insurance partner. Yeah, I was just as skeptical as you were about health insurance until I tried Bastion HMO. I got a healthcare plan that's right for me and my family. I have access to top quality healthcare services and facilities. We also get access to over 1,700 hospitals and clinics. Call 0800 Bastion, Bastion Health, the HMO that puts you in control.
We are passionate about 2 things in Nigeria. The first is football. The second is our rice. And nobody celebrates like a Nigerian. So, for every goal scored, every mark made, you can be sure to always come back home to rice. Celebrate with Nigerian Premium Big Bowl Rice, homegrown just like you. Big Bowl Rice. Tasty rice, nourished you.
Oh, sorry about that. You were talking about it. Sorry about that. We're talking about a movie, but you know, these days you have to pay money to watch a movie. I'll get back to that one. I'm talking about money. FinGrain Seeding Financial Literacy is what is next. Why are you looking at me? Okay. So while we were at it, QNet, a global lifestyle and wellness-focused direct selling company, is a business focused on developing entrepreneurs. QNet understands that a better future starts with education and inclusion. As such, the development of FinGrain is QNet's signature financial literacy program. FinGrain was launched in 2022 in Turkey and Nigeria, and the program's pilot phase was launched in this country in June last year. The program trained 20 participants using the train-the-trainer model and a number of other things that we'll be hearing from the CEO of TransBlue Nigeria Limited, Akeem Ajishafe. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we also have lady and gentleman, Olayinka Olanrewaju is FinGrain Phase 2 Train-the-Trainer beneficiary. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
As well as Emeka Samuel, FinGrain Phase 2 Step-Down beneficiary.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all are going to explain all that.
Exactly.
But let's start with the crucible. Mr. Ajishafe, tell us about this whole FinGrain QNet issue. The participants of your pioneer program, from what we have here, were able to train 572 participants at the end of phase 1. Tell us about the whole thing.
Thank you very much, Alero and Ayo. TransBlue Nigeria Limited. Let me introduce myself once again. I'm Ajishafe Abiodun.
Not Bala Blue, TransBlue.
Yeah, it's not Bala Blue. Anyway, my name is Ajishafe Abiodun Abdulhakeem. I'm the CEO of TransBlue Nigeria Limited. We are a customer service compliance and a logistic company. Basically, we try to bridge the gap between international businesses and Nigerians. So maybe Nigerians don't have to leave their country, the shore of their country, to shop all over the world. And that's one of the things that we're looking forward to. And this adventure has led us to the partnership with QNet. QNet is a global direct selling company. You know, they have over 400 products, ranging from lifestyle to health to educational. And of course, the model is direct selling to impact a whole long number of people. One of the achievements of TransBlue QNet partnership is that we have been able to make QNet comply with all the regulatory authorities in Nigeria. Basically, I'm not sure how many non-resident companies in Nigeria pay taxes, but today QNet is tax compliance. Being a customer service compliant company, we've also made sure that there is a customer service number where you can reach QNet or reach us on any issue that is related to the direct selling activities of QNet. Now, the fact that QNet has been doing business in Nigeria, even though they are not resident here, and people are benefiting as a partner, we looked into more CSR and opportunities that Nigerians can get from the activities of QNet. And of course, from QNet's standpoint of view as well, they have an ETO, which is called the Raise Yourself to Help Mankind. That is the acronym of some of the teams of QNet. This led into coming up with financial literacy. The financial literacy program was born out of educating the people on how to identify scam, how to manage finances, how to make money, and of course, how to keep the finances and keep growth, consistent growth going on. Many Nigerians today might underscore or might just assume that there is no need for financial literacy. But something, struck me. I watched an Islamic TikTok on one of the social media programs. If you don't mind, I will just try to say what I saw. A beggar on the street. A lady was on the street begging for money. And one Muslim guy was passing across to say, okay, let me give him arm. And the second Muslim guy stopped him. Everyone would have looked at it and said, why are you stopping this guy? But all of a sudden, we saw the two of them coming back with boxes of bottled water and placed it in front of the beggar and paid him being the beggar's first customer, which means they are helping the customer to earn money with dignity.
So teach me how to fish. Don't give me fish.
So, and in teaching people how to fish, you have to teach them how to manage the money when it comes, so it can be consistent. I'm sure every one of us here is tired of people that comes to you for money every day, and after a week they come back, another week they come back. I mean, if you don't give them, it becomes resentment.
Okay, let me ask these beneficiaries of yours, because sometimes marketing these things to a young lady and a young man, I wonder why the two of you look alike a little. But let me start with you, Lying Cap. How did you get to be involved in this program, this Fin Green program?
Okay, thank you very much. I saw the advert on a social media platform. I think it was a church brother that sent it to me, but I'd always had this thing in mind before that I really wanted to just know about money. So let me share this short story. When I was in high school, I had this high expectation of how life after high school should be like. And I don't know who sold this narrative to me that life after high school, you will just enjoy yourself. So just endure the pain and endure the old sorrow and everything like that. So I was looking forward to that day.
Enjoy the sorrow of school.
Yes, I was looking forward to that day.
Because life is going to be sweet thereafter.
I was looking forward to that day when I was going to see the old beautiful story after. But when reality came in, I was the one that was more frustrated. Before I gained admission into an institution, I think I took about 2 years, and all those 2 years of my life, I was really frustrated because I was looking for where that money was going to come from. So even before I started the Fin Green program, I had this mentality of, Yinka, you are not still doing it right. There's something you are missing. You wanted this money, so you're not doing it right. So when I saw the program, it just sparked my interest that, wow, the whole objective of the program aligns with what I wanted to achieve. So I picked it up, and the program really met my expectation and even beat it. Thank you very much.
And you? Same way? Social media?
No, I heard it from her.
Oh,
she's the downline of this lady. She was one of our first phase trainee who now trained other people. So this is how the ripple effect is. We said 575 people. We trained 20. This 20 in turn trains others and then trains others. So we want to make sure that this spread across the nation. And then in fact, it doesn't have to be in English and student alone. We are starting with the student because they will easily understand it. But of course, we want to go into everybody's dialect, in everybody's languages. I know our mothers have this financial intelligence already, but teaching them more on how to manage the little resources they have would...
In other words, teach mothers how to use 1,000 naira to cook a soup of 5,000 naira. But, Mr. Samuel, please don't come for me. Mr. Samuel, tell us, what's been your own experience?
Okay, when she gave me a brief description of the whole program, she actually invited me to come be to cover the online aspect of her own program. So she was just like, Samuel, hey, I needed to cover the online session of my program. I said, okay, what's it about? Then she told me, I was like, okay, I'll be there. Without any plan of, okay, I was going to actually learn. My plan was going to just cover the stuff.
No, you have been trained. What is it about? Yeah. Okay. What is it about?
So when I actually got there and I heard her speak, I was like, is this the same? Is this the same person that is my friend? Because what I thought I knew about financially, I found out that most of them were just very wrong ideas. For example, aspect of budgeting, managing finances. The way I saving after I've spent, and also probably just keep a little. But then I learned about the 50-30-20 rule and all. And
50-30-20.
Yeah.
What's that?
Okay, it's a strategy for managing your finances. So you prioritize. So you give 50% to your needs, 30% to your wants, and then. And I'm sorry, 30% you to invest, and then you save to your 20% to 30%, 50% for your needs, 30% for your wants, and then 20% for investments or savings. Then it's also it's flexible. Yeah, probably
30% for your wants.
Yeah.
It actually provides for your wants.
Yeah, it provides for your wants.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then it's also very flexible.
And 20% for savings.
20% yes for saving or investment.
Okay.
Yeah, for
savings
or
investment.
If you want to take a cruise all over the world now, 30%
it covers that.
Okay. What was your own experience when you first heard it? When you first got in, how has it helped you? What has it done to you?
Okay, so let me first start by saying a big thank you to the organizers of this program, because this is actually a life-changing opportunity for somebody like me. So as I said earlier on, my own narrative of wanting to make money. So I realized that there is more to making money. You have the most important part. Now, let me just say this. Making money is not the issue, because I know a lot of you to be eager to hear this. And I had a lot of, when I said the statement, when I was presenting, a lot of people say, are you sure you're in Nigeria? I said, yes. Because that was the same way I felt. I wanted to make money, but making money is not the issue. The issue is managing the money you have made and multiplying the money you have made. So with this financial literacy program I gained, it has helped me widen my horizon. It has changed my narrative of how to manage my money effectively and thereby multiply it. Because it's the money you manage properly, you can multiply. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Well, we're not going to just let you go like that.
Exactly.
So you have learned how to manage your money. So tell all the youth out there who are watching you this morning the basics of managing their money.
Okay, so
effectively.
Thank you very much. Managing money, as I said earlier on, I said making money is not the problem. The major challenge lies in managing your money effectively, and there are a lot of tools, let me not say a lot of tools, but there are basic tools you need to learn, and which includes savings and budgeting. So if you ask an average Nigerian youth, what do you have in your savings, or what do you think about savings? Aside from the crude knowledge of saving for birthdays or saving for, people don't think about saving, just saving
they save for a purpose.
But people don't think about the future for saving for generational wealth. So here's where this financial literacy skill comes in place. Managing money effectively, you need to learn how to save properly. You need to learn the right techniques for saving. How do I save my money in platform that will help me to grow at least dividends? In the olden days, even though we had things like savings with the traditional method, Kolo and all, or Alajo, those ones will still take interest on your money. And if you saved like maybe 5 or 6 months ago, so the current situation the economy is now, the money has really devalued. But if you have the right saving strategy, if you know how to save properly, then you would, I'm trying to explain that it would help you, your money would increase better, like you earn dividends. So let me explain this. I don't know if anybody knows that if you are saving, if you have a savings account, like it's not all the banks, but if you make research, you will know. Some banks give dividends over the money you saved if you don't take at least, if you don't withdraw more than thrice in months. So a lot of youth just think that, oh, I'm saving money, they are still deducting my money. Oh, that banks, they're just cheap. But because you don't know. So you are supposed to save, it's called a savings account. You are supposed to save and earn dividends on that saving. So with this financial literacy knowledge, it has helped me. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Ajishafe.
Yes.
Now, what is because we're running out of time.
Oh.
What are the key objectives and what is the next step for this project?
Just like you watching our training, I've been speaking, the objective is to come up with multiple talents, people who have full understanding of the impact of financial literacy in their lives and able to train others. And of course, the final objective is that we want to be able to monitor the investment that these people have made and how they have succeeded from what we have impacted in them. We are setting an example by choosing a few participants who have done excellently well during the training, okay, to give them seed money, and next year they come back for the phase 3 and tell us how they have managed these finances, and we'll know. You see, you can give everybody 1 million naira, and everybody come back with different profit. So we would analyze exactly.
Now, you also said it's going to be...
What's in it for you?
For us, you see, it's a CSR program, and to be honest with you, Nigerians have been doing well patronizing QNet product. If you, I mean, I was on this program some times ago. If you know how my weight at that time, I was a bit bigger than this, but today, look at me. Just using QNet product, I've been able to lose close to about 15 kg, okay? I have a whole lot of other products. There is water purifying product. There are air purification products. You see, the product of QNet in Nigeria is fantastic, okay? And the people are patronizing. If a company outside Nigeria is making money from Nigeria, then there should be a give back, and this is part of the give back.
So you talked about distilling this to other parts of the country and in various languages.
Yes.
How and when?
Now, this is the phase 2. In this phase 2, we have inculcated that, trying to bring up different, initially we started in Lagos. Now we have moved Lagos and Ogun State together. You see, we are moving closer. Now, TransBlue has offices in Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Port Harcourt. So the plan is, when we perfect this already, each of this program will be held simultaneously in all of those locations. And that way, we are able to impact in every region of the country, and we're able to measure the performance. I mean, you see, we look at the Nigerian economy seriously. How much of the economy are the citizens on their own contributing? How much of activity are the citizens contributing to the growth of the economy? We keep talking about government.
Okay. Well, Mr. Samuel, for those who are young and who are still aspiring themselves, what would you tell them? Because generally, you don't need to be told. The natural fear of or skepticism that these people. So what does it take to get in? And what are the fears that you had that you were disabused by your participation?
I'll mention a quote by Benjamin Franklin. It says, "Knowledge, investment in knowledge yields the greatest results." So I'll encourage every young person out there that comes across programs like Fingrim, or Fingrim in particular, to debunk any idea they have in their mind, or even, like I had, any prior knowledge of finance they've had that they think is the correct one. Because I believe financial knowledge is progressive, meaning that what you think worked for you some years ago might not work now because economic status changes and all. So, and there also, as my own contribution to that is that as a software developer, I'm coming up with an app that will educate young minds with financial literacy knowledge, and be able to relate it, personalize the app, and also it will help them very greatly.
Well, Ms. Olanrewaju,
yes,
in a few sentences, what message would you like to give to those who are listening to you about the importance of financial literacy in achieving generational wealth?
Okay, thank you very much. I would just want to encourage every youth out there. Financial literacy is very important. Contrary to what it is in formal education, there's this narrative we have in this society that those that are formally literate become slaves to those that don't even have a formal education, that didn't go to the 4 walls of school. And I'm not surprised, because even I had that kind of mindset before. Because if you don't know, there's also this thing they say, what you don't know doesn't kill you. No, that's not true. If what you don't know will most likely kill you. So I want to encourage everybody that please, at all costs, try to learn all these skills. Okay. This is not only for you. You are building a legacy for generational wealth. You'll also be able to share. Yes, that you'll be able to share to others. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ajishafe, your own last words are specific. How do people get in touch with you?
We have a customer service number, like I said before now.
You have a website?
We have a website.
What's the website?
The website is www.transblueng.com.
Transblue.
And you can also get us on qnet.net.
qnet.net.
But transblueng.com. And qnet.net. And for our contact center number is 01 888 3035. On 01 888 035.
Well, we have to thank you very much.
3035. 888 3035. Yeah.
We have to thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this morning. Akeem Ajishafe, CEO of TransBlue Nigeria Limited, thank you so much for your time and for all that you do. Olayinka Olaniwaju, Fingrin Phase 2, Train the Trainer beneficiary, as well as Emeka Samuel, Fingrin Phase 2, Step Down beneficiary. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate your being here. All the best.
Thank you.
We're back right after now to take on another conversation. This time, well, we're still in the confines of a school, but it's a little different. Stay with us.
Breakfast right, ding. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight, ding. Stay in power, you find it all in peak, ding. Every move you make brings got you all the way, hey. And the beat goes on.
Power on every morning with our Peak protein breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak, reach for your peak.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of a family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
MoneyPoint is unveiling a new personal banking app, as well as a card that works. And that's not all. For a limited time, thousands of prizes are waiting to be won during the MoneyPoint weekly games. This week, even more prizes await you. 15,000 people will win 2,000 naira each. The grand prize is getting bigger too. One lucky winner will grab 3 million naira. To participate, download the MoneyPoint personal banking app, set up your account, and fund it. Request for your card and collect coins by using your account for daily transactions. Now, once you've done these, just tap the game banner in the app and spin the wheel. And you could become a millionaire. Just like that. The more you transact, the greater your chance of winning 2,000 naira or 3 million naira. Don't miss out. Download the MoneyPoint personal banking app because it's banking on point. Terms and conditions apply.
Well, from thin green literary stuff, let's go to the other Finn, which is a real school this time. This is St. Finbarr's College. And what is happening is that they're having a memorial lecture in honor of their founder, the very Reverend Father D.J. Slattery. I'm sure most Catholics have heard about him, because that was a very famous name when I was in Holy Child College, which is also a Catholic school. Father Slattery was a name that was known in those circles. So it is reputed that St. Finbarr's College was the first secondary school in Nigeria to offer technical education curriculum. The school is also famous for its proud sporting legacy that produced a galaxy of sporting heroes, the likes of Stephen Keshi, Henry Nwosu, and Samson Siasia. Wow. Those are very famous names in football. And these people over the decades have made Nigeria proud in football, of course. Indeed, Reverend Father Slattery was the pioneer chairman of the Nigerian Football Association. Oh, well, that explains it then, doesn't it? He was also regarded as one of the frontline nationalists who vigorously advocated for the independence of Nigeria from British colonial rule. Well, to tell us all about this event, we have the president of St. Finbarr's College Old Boys Association, my own brother, Patrick Doyle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. And we also have the chairman of the PTA, Mr. Dominic Malagu. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
Himself an old boy.
Himself an old boy, of course.
He has to be.
He's wearing a blazer.
Has to
be. He couldn't borrow it just to come on show. So, this big event coming up, what are we expecting?
Well, as you, in your introduction of Father Slattery, you spoke about the fact that he was a nationalist. And indeed he was, because on more than one occasion while he was advocating for Nigeria's independence as a very dear friend of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and all the other nationalists, he was detained. And attempts were made to deport him even back then. So his credentials as a Nigerian and a Nigerian nationalist are intimidating, to say the least. And we just feel that when we in our national anthem, we talk about the labors of our heroes past. We would like to let it be known that when we are listing our heroes past as Nigerians, Reverend Father Dennis Joseph Slattery should be counted amongst those heroes past in Nigeria. And we think his legacy in Nigeria, his footprints in politics, his footprints in education and in sports stand him out as a special type of past hero of Nigeria.
It's interesting that a white man would be advocating for the independence of a black nation.
That's very easy. He was an Irishman, and the Irish people fought a bitter war of independence with the British, and he came to a British colony, so he carried his animus of Irish independence.
So when you say he's a Nigerian, I'm very much interested in his state of origin. But let me talk to you, Mr. Malagu.
Lagos State.
if you must know, you know what the Yoruba word for Tedo, the first place he settled, Ilawe Ekiti.
So he's from Ekiti.
That was his first port of call in Nigeria.
But his plane didn't land in.
He came in 1941.
On the
boat. He went straight to Ilawe Ekiti to start his missionary work.
That is his
state of origin, Ekiti.
Governor. Well.
That governor.
Good. Well, Mr. Malagu, Patrick Doyle, sorry, I can call him Patrick Doyle because he's a broadcaster. If I don't call him by his name, he'll go and report me. He spoke about the trajectory of Father Slattery. Well, you tell us the answer to the question she asked about what are we expecting with this lecture?
Well, once again, I say good morning, viewers. It's going to be a blockbuster event.
I thought that was only used for movies.
Packed full.
The president is a movie maker.
It's an event geared towards trying to raise funds via an endowment. And as a part of the fallout of this endowment scheme, we're looking at completing our ongoing hostel building. It's a 500-bed hostel facility.
Wow.
Of course, state-of-the-art facility for students. That is meant to complement our high flyers and achievers, because we refer to our students as high flyers, because they fly our flag above the full mast. So we are so proud of their achievements. So we want to do things to also complement their efforts, to make them comfortable. And as well, of course, you did mention our prowess in sports. Maybe one other thing you didn't mention was the fact that we do not just have old boys that has given so much in the area of football. We also have people in athletics. You know, Prince Henry Amike, the Olympic hurdler. And we were also blessed to have even sports administrators. We can readily, mention the two-bomb himself, Paul Bassi, MDC, who is a CAF recognized and FIFA recognized, sports administrator. We are looking in the area of sports to rehabilitating our football pitch, because that is part of the strength of what we offer in Fimbers College. We've tried to balance both academics and sports, and I think we've done that so well in recent times. Results are there, to speak for us. And of course, we also recognize the fact that we have indigents, amongst our students, those who for one reason or the other, are unable to sustain, their stay in the college. So part of this endowment will go towards, helping them to, sustain their stay in the college and, finish up on a high. Yes.
So, interestingly, while you're talking sports, you didn't even talk about Nollywood, and your president is a movie maker.
Well, let me add on to what he has spoken about. The lecture itself, the lecturer is an old boy of St. Finbarr's College, the very Reverend Father Anthony Akinwale, who was the pioneer vice-chancellor of the Dominican University in Ibadan. Incidentally, the Dominican University in Ibadan is the first Dominican university on the African continent, and it was birthed by a proud Finbarian. He is probably one of the foremost theologians of the Catholic Church globally. He's a member of there's this thing called the Magister Theologia. It's a big thing in the Catholic circles for intellectuals. It's the intellectual arm of and he's one of the very few people who is on the advisory board of that. So he will be delivering the lecture. And the lecture will be on contemporary Nigerian issues, juxtaposing contemporary issues and, projecting into how they probably, how it will all turn out if the right steps are taken. So so that's the proud heritage of St. Finbarr's College. We have a rich inventory of alumni who have excelled in practically every field of human endeavor, and we're bringing all that to play at this lecture. And we have the Irish ambassador. As you well know, Father Slattery was Irish, and I'd like to say that the Irish legacy in Nigeria, the most tangible and the most significant legacy of the footprint of Irish missionaries in Nigeria would be St. Finbarr's College, Akoka, because of our prominence and the rich legacy that institution has bequeathed to Nigeria in terms of manpower development. We talked about the fact that we were the first secondary school to incorporate a technical curriculum, and that has a lot of our high-flying engineers in Nigeria took their seminal knowledge of engineering from St. Philip's College. And for that, we're very proud. So we go beyond sports. We go well beyond sports. And even in financing.
I was protesting on your behalf.
Yes,
but what's the likely title of this lecture? Any ideas yet?
It's a contemporary Nigerian issues and how they affect.
I think the theme is retrieving and protecting our common humanity.
Humanity?
Yes. Retrieving and protecting our common humanity.
Ooh.
Any reason particularly for
Which
that?
we seem to be losing gradually. Very apt.
Even if you go by the last 2 weeks of Nigerian contemporary history, you will see that our humanity is fast ebbing, and we need to retrieve it. And so that's what this is. And as I said, Reverend Father Professor Anthony Akinwale is a philosopher, and his views are to be reckoned with.
Is he an old boy?
He is an old boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 1979 sets.
Whoa. That's the year I entered secondary school, Form 1. Anyway, come to you.
Professor Father.
So, give us the details. Venue, date, time.
Yes. Of course, the event itself is on Monday. And the venue is the Grand Ball.
Monday, the 25th of September.
Monday, 25th September,
Not
yes.
Monday, 2nd October.
Monday, 25th September.
Just to be clear.
2023.
Okay.
And the venue is the Grand Ballroom, Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time is 4 p.m. Prompt.
One of the issues that usually come to me when such grand events hold is how it is designed to bring on the youths that are the subject of the title of the lecture. Like, how does it encourage young people to be there, and what are they going to benefit from that thing that is cross-generational, the lecture that is cross-generational?
Well, there's a whole lot of benefits, and that's talking about the youths in particular. The professor brings to bear, his rich repertoire, of knowledge, going by the historical perspective of who he is. He's dealt with students and young people, various cadre, having been the vice chancellor in a university, and currently he even serves as the deputy vice chancellor at Augustine University, Epe. So he's still in tune, with youthful
we have
population.
our students students of St. Remi's College will be there, but more than that, it's going to be live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And this has been, we've been advertising this on the social media platforms for the live streaming. So it will be live streamed, and we do hope that we have our alumni. So there are at least 10,000 members of the St. Remi's College Old Boys Association, and we have recruited all of them to be in the chorus party of sending out the word, and their children too.
So you are the president of a country of 10,000.
At least.
Okay. Now,
head of states.
So just to be clear, is there any registration necessary?
No, it's actually it's a bit, if you on the surface, it's a bit elitist. It's going to be at the Grand Ballroom of the Eco Hotel. We're expecting 300 guests, invited guests, because invited guests. Okay. But we are live streaming it so that it will. But the guests that we're inviting, we have snuck in a fundraiser into this event. That was it was done for the purpose of because we're going to be bringing in distinguished personalities, and some of our old boys who have distinguished themselves locally and internationally have also been invited to, participate in the. We want to have an endowment fund for the school. Most schools, and we consider ourselves a legacy school in Nigeria. Schools that were in existence pre-independence are regarded as legacy schools, and we are probably the youngest of the legacy schools because we were established in 1956. But we have consistently punched above our weight, and we hold our own against even the schools that have been here for centuries.
You are in Lagos.
1909.
You are in Lagos. You will hold your. What is it?
We punch above our weight.
You punch above your weight. You are in Lagos. Lagos is the smallest sized state in the country.
And it punches above but as I said, we're very proud of our.
Okay, the reason I asked that question is because, just as you said, you have a country of 10,000 people or more and a good number of friends over the years. So how do we identify or discover this YouTube link? How will it be published for people to know so that they can join? Any ideas?
I apologize that I have not armed myself with that particular one because we've been disseminating it on social media. I take responsibility for not
having it here.
Having it right here, right now.
Right. So I am assuming that in the same publicity, whatever that it's going to be published within the next 24 hours.
Certainly.
24, 48 hours so that people can know about those things ahead. You want to ask a question?
No. So St. Finbarr's College Memorial Lecture will be coming up on Monday.
St. Father Slattery Memorial Lecture.
Oh.
Powered by St. Finbarr's Colleges. Old boys.
Okay, so we should start afresh.
Oh, okay. The Very Reverend Father DJ Slattery Memorial Lecture, powered by St. Finbarr's College.
Old
Boys Association. Yes. Will hold on Monday, the 25th of September.
At 4 p.m.
2023. In the Grand Ballroom of Echo Hotel and Suites at 4 p.m. prompt.
And I see that it's going to be a dinner.
This event will be streamed on all social media platforms.
And it is exclusively
attendance is only by invitation.
So
are we being politically correct?
You have been correct to a T.
Thank you.
And this broadcast is for your information.
Only.
So, will the dinner also be live streamed?
It is rude to show people while they are eating. So you shall be distracted with some other form of visual entertainment.
All right. Okay, so all we can do is to wish you good luck.
Thank you.
St. Finbarr's College, old boys, as well as current students, because this is a thing of pride, and like he said, St. Finbarr's is a legacy college, and it's a very proud one at that. And I am also a proud sister of the president of the Old Boys Association.
Ogiame.
Good to know.
So we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
On Monday, and we hope that all goes down well, including the food.
By His grace.
I am assuming that this event is only for St. Finbarr's.
I am extending,
not for family members.
I'm extending a presidential invitation to your good self and my darling sister.
Yes.
Please, be with us.
Just saying.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Doyle, President, St. Finbarr's College Old Boys Association, and Mr. Dominic Malagu, St. Finbarr's College Chairman of PTA.
Thank you.
Which is the Parents Teachers Association. Thank you very much for coming to tell us all about this event.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sunrise will return in just a moment with another Interesting conversation. I think we're talking about the junior achievement when we come back.
Still with children, and schools will be back.
Bring it on. Life know the sweet too. Hey, if some people know the hate too. So use the number 6 so and calculate. You go see the ratio. The beef self na me too. Whether not asu them relate to. So bring your own crayfish oh. We go mix so oh Lord. We no go blow. Oh, share them to see us now. We don't glow. Take a look at me now. Take a look at me now. We're running things in this town. Can't you see? I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on. Bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on. Bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. And keep rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising, rising. This life is not easy. So much hustling and bustling. Everyone is struggling. So make you know they believe say, since everyone is chasing, you're never gonna make it. Never say no, never give up. Keep your head up, standing tall. And for sure, you go turn it up, turn down for what? Share na them talk say, we no go blow. Share them to see us now, we don't glow. Take a look at me now. Take a look at me now. We're running things in this town. Can't you see? I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. And keep rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising, rising. I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you do. Just as long as you're chasing money, do what's right, never give up on it. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. Bring it on, bring it on. Are you ready? No matter how you try, don't you ever fall. Keep your head up high and standing tall. And keep rising, rising, rising. Keep it high, rising, rising. Bring it on.
Vim. The only thing that I remember about Vim was that, when I was growing up, it's what they used to.
No, this is not Vim, it's Vimp.
Didn't you see Vim on the screen?
Oh, sorry.
H.
Sorry.
Well,
Vimp.
It's Vimp. Okay, because they just wrote Vim program. So when I saw Vim, I just remembered that scoring powder.
Yeah.
But this is Vimp. And this VIM is an acronym for Venture in Management. So Venture in Management program is in its 23rd year. And it's an annual program of Junior Achievement Nigeria since 2000. VIMP is designed as a one-week intensive introduction to MBA programs in partnership with Lagos Business School, LBS, to introduce selected members of the National Youth Service Corps and recent graduates to the different facets of managing a business, making crucial business decisions, and developing skills for general management. Why isn't this taught in secondary school? Anyway, let's begin by introducing a Senior Program Officer, Junior Achievement Nigeria, Chiamaka Ifeanyichukwu. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you that question.
Right.
Ladies first. So Faith Ilori is our most outstanding female participant. So thank you so much for being here. As well as the money man, the head of investment research, Parthian Securities, Oluwaseun Dosunmu. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Don't you think this thing you people are doing should be incorporated in? Why are you laughing? You don't even know what I'm asking.
Yes.
And I mean, it's so straightforward. What do you think? You think about it?
No, we have programs like that for secondary school students as well. So in Junior Achievements Nigeria, we ensure that working within our 4 core values and core pillars, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, work readiness, and digital literacy, we ensure to make impact in the life of young people within the ages of 5 to 27. So Venture in Management Program, VIMP, is particularly for National Youth Service Corps members and fresh graduates, that are just leaving school and they need to go into the world of work and the world of business to experience how exactly it is. So VIMP exactly helps them to identify where that, they should pitch their tent, whether it's to become an entrepreneur, to identify what their career should actually be. And we do this with Lagos Business School. They go to learn general management skills, learn how to make crucial business decisions, and how to become ethical business leaders and responsible people in the society. VIMP also teaches, in fact, it's an encompassing program that teaches young people everything that they need to know to make impact, and then, get everything into the world in a way that they make changes that they want to see in their own world.
Any age range?
So yes, the VIMP participants do not exceed the age of 27. Yes.
So you have told us her age in advance. What is your before and after story?
Okay, so before VIMP, I've seen testimonial of it online, and I've seen some VIMP participants, their progress after VIMP, and I was like, okay, this should be something I should be part of. So I applied for it. And my before story is just a story of a young girl that wants to learn more and wants to. No,
you didn't talk about the young lady that just wants to spend money, make money and spend money.
Well, money comes by learning more and by adding up more value. So that's just the before story. Then the after story is that of fulfillment, that of someone that has met with new people, new friends, and have learned from learned professional. So that's just the whole story.
We'll still come back to you, but how is this program funded?
The program is funded by our wonderful partners and sponsors, people like Parthian Partners here with us today, and GB Foods. For this year in particular, we had Parthian Partners, GB Foods, MasterCard, who funded this program to make sure that we reach these young people and make impact in their lives. We also have, other partners like Veraki, formerly Accenture.
Let's talk about the Parthian, because I know that.
Okay.
Let's talk to him about Parthian.
So why did you decide to put money on this one?
Thank you for your question. So we've identified this gap when it comes to hiring young professionals. We've seen that they spent quite a number of time in school, but when it comes to practical knowledge, and for them to apply what they've learned, there's always a gap. So we identified that gap, when we were doing our recruitment, and we decided, how can we support, how can we help the country and to help young people, equip them with the skills and the knowledge needed? We identified VIMP and we said, what they're doing aligns with what we want to achieve, then we decided to support them. I mean, this is our 3rd year of doing this, and I had the privilege of joining one of their classes, and I saw raw talent. You know, they were given this, they're given this case study, and I saw how they were able to come together, work in teams, and dissect what's it called now?
Case study.
The case study that was given to them, and I was so impressed. I just said, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. If we have, you know, this kind of program, then we need to do more. We need to support them and try to do as much as we can to ensure that the program can reach more youth and help them generally.
Okay. This has been going now for 23 years.
23 years.
Okay. Now, tell us about some of your success stories.
Our success stories are actually embedded in the life of these young people that we make impact on using
Which
Vim.
one of them has been outstanding?
Yes, so
and
there's
I mean
so many stories.
In capital letters.
Okay. The very huge one for us is the fact that people who Vimp have produced come back to sponsor Vimp. So the likes of Mr. Vincent Egbe of GB Foods. GB Foods was one of the sponsors, started sponsoring last year, and he was part of Vimp. Like he's an alumni of Vimp of 12 years now. Whoa. And he came back to sponsor from last year. We also have the current minister of communications, Nigeria, Bosun Tijani, is a Vimp alum. So we've had Vimp plant people all over the world, making the difference in different sectors, finance sector, talk about development, politics. Everyone is making impact through what they learn in Vimp, because Vimp is encompassing. They learn everything that they need to thrive and make a change in their world.
What would you say to anyone now, Faith, who is watching, has no idea what they even need, but they are disillusioned, disoriented, and anything that will task their brain is a no-no?
Well, for anybody that has that kind of mindset, I would just advise that they need to understand that we are in a world whereby the world value people that they are conscious of what they want. So I would just advise that they should first start by identifying what they feel they are good at. Because sometimes I realize this error among youth that we have people that we adore, that they are not doing something that we are literally not good at. But we ignore our own gifts and look at what those people have. So I will first advise the person to identify what he or she is good at. Then after that, learn everything you can about that. Because I'm a big believer of, if you do what you are good at, other things that you do will come along the way. So I would advise the person, know what you are good at, learn about it, be intentional. Then if there is any means of learning, things you can apply for, that will let you grow, communities you can join and be part of, that will help your learning process and that will also connect you with like mind. You should also join.
What's been for you the most, they say you are the most outstanding female participant.
Yes.
So what was your own most outstanding experience on this program?
Oh, well, for that, there's quite a lot, but I summarize them as the people, the knowledge, and the food.
The food.
So you are giving kudos to GB Food already.
Yes, okay. For the people, I met with people from all over the country, people from the north, people from the east and everywhere. We met, we came together, we learned together, we share ideas together, we are in the team, we work together, make presentation and all of that. And also for the people too, we have Jan officials with us for those on-site participants. We learn from them, they share their knowledge, we mix. And also for the people, the LBS lecturers, all of them were there with us. We literally asked them questions. Even during break, we could still go to them and ask them for more clarity on things that were being taught. So that's it for the people. For the knowledge, we basically learn from seasoned professionals. They already know what they are doing and how they are making progress. They share their success story. their downtime. And then we also have some CEOs come around, like Oluwatosin Olasende of Money Africa, she came around, Michelle Elegbe of InterSwitch, all of them, Nord Automobiles too, the CEO came around. They basically shared their story and everything that has happened for when they're starting out their career, their business, and all of that. And for the food...
No, we'll come to the food. What's the, for you, the most outstanding in that knowledge? Because what were the things that you learned that you didn't know or that you knew but they were busted with the knowledge?
Okay, to start with, I will first talk about ethics. It's I'm aware of ethics in business and all of that, but the way I see it before is that ethic is just ethic, like it can be ethic anywhere. But when we got there, it was emphasized that we shouldn't just see it as ethic, that sometimes ethic can determine how you'll be promoted and how you grow anyway. That as young professional, we should be mindful of our attitude, our character, how we approach things at work, the kind of honor we even give our senior colleague, and how we even communicate our grievances or anything. So that stood out for me during the course of the program. Then what stood out for me again is whatever you are doing now, anywhere you are, in any company we are, whether you are interning or it's a full-time role, we should be intentional about it and give it all our best. And there is this emphasis on excellence, that wherever you are as a young professional, they should see that excellence in you. You shouldn't be someone they will say and just say, oh no, don't let us trust this person with this kind of tax. So we should have that epitome of excellence that will even speak out for us when we are not there. And there is this another thing that stood out for me on character, that some young professionals, like Gen Z young professionals, they will just act like, yes, I'm just here to work for the company. That although we are doing the company a favor by working with them, but then we should also add character to it, because character sometimes speak louder than the work you are doing in the company. So I think those three stood out for me.
Okay, so now the food. How has your weight changed?
Okay, so when I got home, my mom was like, it's just 1 week.
Your mom identified it.
Yeah, she was like, it's just 1 week. And I was like, we're eating good food. I mean, LBS food, it's 100 for me. And then where we were lodged, the food too went so well, and it was always delicious. We are always on the lookout for, once it's almost time for dinner, we should just go on time and get our food.
Well, I guess we should give kudos to Parthian then.
Thank you.
For paying the bills for the good food.
Yes.
So you're doing something right.
Thank
if
you.
not the knowledge, at least they'll remember you for the food.
Yeah, but interestingly, Mr. Dosunmu, a good number of people would say young people generally, because, I mean, it's a good thing an organization such as yours is in partnership with JAN to help young people. But generally, when you look at this whole trajectory, conversations around young people, and whether or not the country or the nation generally, private or public, have invested in them enough, what would you say?
I would say that one of the things we should also understand is that times are changing, and the world is also changing. I understand that a lot of young people don't want to go through the traditional work experience and traditional education system. We understand that. But we also have quite a number of people who still want to go through the normal process. I mean, you look out there and see people play sports and do social events and make a lot of money. And it's a bit distracting. You know, it's a bit distracting. I mean, if you go out there to sing, or someone is a social media influencer, and you see the kind of lifestyle they live, the question that comes to mind is, why should I, go through the normal process?
Stress myself.
Yes. But then we've come to understand that for us to build a sustainable system, for us to have an outlook, a good outlook, especially for the country. I mean, we have so many negative news out there about Nigeria. We're trying as much as possible to change the narrative. And we've identified that Nigeria's greatest resource is not the, it's not the natural resource, it's the people, our future, the young generation. If we invest in them, we know that in turn they would add value to the world. And once they add value to the world, it comes back to us directly or indirectly. So
interesting. Well, madam, let me ask you again. 23 years and counting. Can you hazard a guess of how many people your organization has impacted over the years?
Yes, so we have a very wide network of the alumni, and we have over 5,000 people that we've impacted through the program. Before now, because it's a very intensive program and selection process is very deep, we ensure that at least 50 are impacted through the program. Up until 2021, during the pandemic, we increased to 100. Yeah, so 100 since 2021 till now. So we have people who join on site there at Lagos Business School with all of the accommodation experience Faith is telling us about.
And the food.
And then and then we have people who also join on site from different parts of Nigeria. So thousands of people have been impacted with this program, and the impact has, just have ripple effects like that.
Okay. So for the participants, after the program, what comes next?
So from the impact survey that we've always had, in 6 months after the program, we have people who are gainfully employed. Unemployability skills are, taking off. So we have lots of people having their startups, going into entrepreneurship, people. So there are different people in different sectors already doing things from the knowledge that they have gotten from them.
Can you just tell us in percentages, approximately how many of them go into entrepreneurship and how many go into employment?
So in percentage, we have about 40 people going into entrepreneurship, and
40%.
Yeah, 40% people into entrepreneurship, and 60, yeah. And we have some of them who are on both sides. That's what we notice as well. There's some of them who are also, using their entrepreneurial mindset to add value to organizations while they have their own businesses, solving problems that they want to solve in the world.
Okay. You talked about the intense process. In 60 seconds, tell us about that.
Okay, so
the selection process.
The selection process goes through they're writing essays, applying, using their CVs and everything. And the program is for people who are first class, candidates from universities, but the lowest we take is second class upper. Yeah, so we select the best out of them. After that stage, we go to Veraki as one of our partners, come in to help shortlist. After that, there are interviews. So it's just a rigorous process of scrutiny to make sure we get the best, to take the best from the program and make good use of it.
Faith, you talked about, we have about 30 seconds, you talked about character. How important has it become for you from this experience?
Okay, so I think we started learning about character since the first day at LBS. So even while I was there, I was trying to, some things that I do, I just start to correct it instantly, like just make sure I'm putting all these things to practice. And so far, some things that I just overlook now, I've become so much intentional about them, like my character in communication, the way I talk to people, the way I put more honor on people now. It has so much change, and I feel there's an improvement in the way I communicate my grievances and things that I do not want to.
So you clean your bed now. Don't answer that. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Faith Ilori, most outstanding female participant of this year, right?
Yes.
2023 program. Thank you so much for being here. Oluwaseun Dosunmu, Head of Investment Research, Party and Securities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
As well as the grandmother of the team, Senior Program Officer, Junior Achievements, Nigeria, Chiamaka Ifeanyi-Chukwu. Thank you for all the good work you do, and all the best.
You're welcome.
Okay. I heard recently that young people are developing all kinds of heart diseases. Young people. What are you thinking? Or is it just about thinking or not? Let's talk about that after this break.
I know sometimes you feel like saying, nobody sent you, that's what I like. I'm here for you, my friend. I did no vex for me, say I never call you since, but I hope that you are well. I hope you're my cat still. Every day I dey pray for you. Make you ever God bless you. I never forget you. I gon' forget you. See my shoulder. Make you rest upon me. You know I got you. Now me be your friend indeed. Money don't show now. I don't keep some for you. You know go so far. Cause anything I get now for me and you. How are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend? I know sometimes you feel like saying, nobody sent you, that's what I did for you, my friend. Oremi atata, you always stay in my mind. I did me gone. I cherish you with my life. Don't worry yourself, oh. Everything go day alright. And if anybody try you, know it's gonna be on sight. See my shoulder, make you rest upon me. You know I got you. Let me be your friend indeed. Money don't show now. I don't keep some for you. You know go so far. Cause anything I get now for me and you. How are you, my friend? I see you, my brother. How do you do, my friend? See my sister. Know sometimes you feel like saying, nobody sent you. That's what I did for you, my friend. So how are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend? I know sometimes you feel like saying, nobody sent you. That's what I did for you, my friend. I know sometimes you feel like saying, nobody sent you. That's what I did for you, my friend. I know that I don't call enough, but you're always on my mind. Oh, I did for you, my friend.
Okay, so here we go. That's lifestyle conversation going on right there.
Yes, because we didn't want to give anybody free adverts. Well, despite being largely preventable, cardiovascular disease, CVD, causes more than 20.5 million deaths every year worldwide. Ooh, that's a huge number. An estimated 80% of cardiovascular disease, including heart disease and stroke, is preventable. The main elements of CVD prevention are healthy diet, physical activity, avoiding tobacco, and knowing your numbers. Now, what does that mean? Well, what do I know? We have a critical care specialist in the house, and I'd like to say good morning and welcome to Dr. Roger Olade.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for coming. Now, it says that a good part of preventing this is knowing your numbers. Please translate that into
English. So, I like that summary because you're right. And actually now, recently, those numbers are like 90%. So you can actually prevent 90% of the problems of the risk factors of cardiovascular diseases can actually be attributed to some risk factors. And if changes are made, when I say modifiable, that means we can actually do something about them.
Okay.
And obviously, as against there are a few things we can do something by our race, our genetics. We can't do anything about those. But the modifiable ones, which you've mentioned, your diet, your high blood pressure, cholesterol, smoking, your weight, mostly abdominal obesity, And the alcohol, reducing alcohol, but actually there's been studies that says small amounts of alcohol are actually cardioprotective. So...
well, you doctors say something about red wine, a little red wine.
Yes, I mean, red wine has gotten its own popularity, but generally we try not to, give red wine. But there's been studies, we can't deny studies, right? It's been showing that, people that drink a little bit, basically for just to clarify, because I'm on air, 2 drinks at the max a day for men, 1 drink at the max a day for ladies.
What do you mean 2 drinks? 2 drinks can mean 2 bottles of brandy.
Okay. Good question. I know once I open this, the Pandora.
Exactly. You just open Pandora's box.
So you're saying just a shot? Yeah. So let's just say a glass of wine. Let's go with wine for now.
A glass of wine. Okay. So, no hard stuff.
No. Well, if you do hard stuff, which of course they added, then it has to be the volume, because that's like a lot of alcohol, 40%.
One shot. Okay.
So I'll say a shot. Let's say a shot.
A day.
But she asked about numbers. What are these numbers? Good. So for alcohol, we can give you numbers. So alcohol, what they say is, of course, you might have to check what you're drinking, but about 100 grams a week is what is okay.
Who's going to be measuring all that? I just want to drink.
So if you want to drink, then a glass of... Do you do wine?
On the odd occasion.
Okay, so...
I don't do booze at all.
so if you will, I would say a glass of red wine would be great. Just a glass of red wine once a day is allowed. And that has been shown to be cardioprotective. But obviously, but that's just for the heart. Now, alcohol on its own overall is not advised because it has its own cancer, other things that it does. But it's been shown just for the heart, cardioprotective. That means, since we're talking about CBD today, I just brought that up. But overall, I don't sit in my office and say, hey, guys, go start drinking.
Okay. All right. Now, there's also the issue of the diet. So you need to describe how our diet should be if we want to protect our hearts.
Good.
Remembering that we don't have broccoli here.
Fantastic.
Just saying.
But we actually have the best food. So
organic.
Yes. So diet. So it's simple because you try to make this as, if you want eating is one of those things that you want to make it as easy as possible so people can follow it. Because like we know, there's so many things out there. But when it comes to eating, my own simple thing I say is, first of all, stay away from processed foods. Anything that you don't cook by yourself at home or is not cooked. So the fast foods, the burgers, the stuff like, stay away from that. Stay away from sodas like, the Pepsis, the Cokes, the sugar, those kind of simple sugars. Reduce them or stay away as much as possible. That, if you just do that, you solve half the problem of what you eat. Because if you just eat what we call whole foods is something you made. You saw it in its natural form and you cooked it into its cooked form. If you stay on that, which is what we eat mostly in this environment, at least, as of, I know gradually things are creeping in, but we're known for organic food. Yeah, so if you stick with those whole foods and you stick with that, you have a very great chance of, that's halfway already, and we can now go into details if you want to.
When we were opening this program, my partner said young people are having heart issues. Why is that?
Well, young people, so I would have
to... It's not only for us anymore, us 40-duddies.
Wait, so let's, so I have to really, go into that when you say young people. So young people as they're young, but let's say people, pediatric age, children having heart issues, most likely it is what they're born with. So basically, maybe they inherited it, or they just basically what we call congenital diseases. So that's what they're born with. So those ones would be most of the issue. When you see someone maybe below 20 having a cardiac issue, it's mostly what they were born with.
Below 40?
Yes. Now, I would say below 20, because now when you get into the 30s, because of bad habits, people are actually having adult heart issues. So when you see, those days, if you see a 35-year-old having a heart issue, you probably say, well, they're born with it. But now you can actually see a 35-year-old with arteries clogged a little bit, just because of, you can truly cumulative effect. You can really live a bad life and easily and let it accumulate. So, but I would still say below 40, if you have a heart problem,
It's very unlikely to be your lifestyle unless you just live a very rough life.
You know, the reason that issue even came up for me, we had this conversation with one of your colleagues in the medical profession who said that they diagnosed children. I say children. In fact, the question that I asked was, at what's the youngest age a human being can have depression? Said that they've had diagnosed someone, say 10 or 12 years old, having depression.
Even less, even younger.
Even younger?
Yes, even
Depression?
Younger. Yes. I mean, kids, hopefully not in the environment, but in the Western world, kids go through a rough time. You know, kids born, maybe as they were born, they go into foster homes. They've been abused as from age 2, 3, 4. I mean, very, horrific stories. So by the time that kid is 8, 9, I have kids that commit suicide at 9 years old. Wow. So yes, so to answer that question, yes, you can that lower, yes.
That's the reason we brought the angle of the young people, because there are a lot more young people in the world today, particularly in Africa.
Correct.
More importantly, in Nigeria than there are in, than there are the older ones. In fact, you may also want to educate us, since it's where you live, that the younger people are more because the older ones are dying off and the rest of it. That's the reason that perspective came up. Is there enough information for them, the young people out there, on how to protect their hearts? Because the illusion of youth, permit me to use that term, illusion of I'm young, I'm too young to have any of these fatal conditions, is there.
Yes, the illusion came out of reality, to be honest. Like, just like when you buy a new car. Most times, your first 5 years of that car will be trouble-free if you buy a brand new car.
Expectedly.
Yeah, expectedly, obviously, unless it's a factory problem. You start in the morning, boom, you don't have to even do anything. Look, when that car creeps up on 10 years, you begin to hear about your things you didn't even know about the car that existed. You start telling you about alternators and things like things you never knew existed in your car because you're just used to driving a new car. So same thing goes with. If you're born healthy, your body is new enough to withstand a lot of destructive activity you give to it. And that creates that illusion you talked about. So we're still, the human body is still, because all the organs are still new enough. So you still have that protection, even though, we call it an illusion, but the deaths among younger people is usually still traumatic accidents and stuff like that. We don't have people below 40 having heart attacks every time. We have the random one, and it's always like, oh, what happened here? But usually what I see, just want to emphasize, is missed congenital heart diseases. Which the commonest of them is the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. I don't know if you heard about, which kids have enlarged heart and it's missed. They have the left side of the heart that pumps is missed, and when you hear a lot of people die, the popular one was the footballer we had many years ago that died on the Kwaraji that died on the so when you hear athletes just have cardiac arrest, and most times that's it because it was missed. So I always actually encourage parents to take their kids to do like a cardiac check, especially if there's a family history of maybe some uncles or aunties just falling off in early age. You want to check, you want to check it out just to make sure that it's not there. So that's some of those missed cardiac congenital activities might account for some of those deaths, but mostly below 40, where our body protects us a bit, So I just don't want to overemphasize that.
Added to that, is so young people, not just about young people really, but we want to talk about prevention now. How do you prevent? What kind of lifestyles people need to live in order to protect the engine of the body, so to speak?
Correct. So, talking about preventing CVD or cardiovascular disease, it's what, there's no magic around it, right? It's still the same things most people know what we need to do. So basically, a healthy diet. You eat right and you exercise, and you have cut your risk of having a heart event by half, by 50%.
Exercise.
Yes.
That's getting a little dicier.
Yes.
Here is why. Since COVID, mobility has reduced. People work from home.
Okay.
Young people also work from home.
Correct.
And they're going to work from home more as technology evolves.
Correct.
AI is coming.
Correct.
So what are the things we need to do to be mentally preparing ourselves against CVD?
Yes. So preventing CVD means we have to be intentional about it. So when you say people work from home, they have to actually, you have to see exercise as something you need to do to keep you alive. You have
deliberate.
to be, yes, you have to be deliberate. You have to be intentional about it. So like, hey, you know what, I know, talking about numbers, you need to do at least 150 minutes. Studies have shown that if you do 150 minutes a week of exercise, moderate exercise, that increases your heart a little bit. You know, it makes you don't have to sweat or pant or anything, but just increase your heart a little bit. If you do 150 minutes of that a week, studies have shown that about this 25 decrease of your chance of having a myocardial event. So basically, if you work out, 30 minutes, so and so, you can get an hour here and there. But 150 minutes is basically, about just over 2 hours. You do that a week. It's been shown to. But even if you do less, because every bit of exercise counts. 30 minutes is better than 0 minutes. But every amount you do actually helps you to prevent any kind of cardiac event.
I want to ask you about how does anxiety contribute to CVD? I ask that because the economic realities of many people all over the world is becoming a little more concerning.
Yeah, very, very good question. Very good question, because anxiety, it's more out of stress. So when you say anxiety, usually anxiety it has a foundation of stress most times, as is concerned with CVD. So definitely chronic stress is definitely one of the risk factors that affects that makes you prone to having a cardiac event. So because stress affects your hormones, and the stress hormones, which the most popular of them is cortisol, actually its effect retains water, retains body fat. So you see people, you just kind of do those things that eventually increases inflammation in the body, eventually causes things that will cause you to have a cardiac event. So definitely stress has a direct effect on the heart. And that has been proven. And obviously, people that have anxiety, most of them will have some level of stress causing that.
Now, do you think that we as Nigerians are aware enough of all these factors that contribute to the health of our hearts?
No, we're not.
So what do you think can be done so that we are more aware, so that we can help ourselves? Because this issue about young people having issues is because we have noticed that a lot of young people are eating fast food.
Correct.
And they believe it is hip.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's cool. It is to show that I am affluent. It's to show that I'm with it. So they don't want to eat eba and vegetable soup anymore.
It's local.
Yeah. These local guys who eat stuff like that. we eat burgers.
Correct.
We eat, chicken in batter, So, I mean, put us right, please.
Yes. We're trying not to beat down on the young people too much. They have options.
That's the thing. See, the thing is, they don't. Perhaps the challenge really is they don't even know that the options are there.
Yes.
So it's concerning because in another 10 years, the 20-year-old is going to be 30-year-old.
Yes.
30 years old, and things could have gotten worse.
Yes, and I mean their diet is bad. Like you said, they still have that protection, but the body doesn't forget. So it's cumulative.
Oh, it's like the internet, huh?
Yes, the body doesn't forget. You live, whatever you do in your youth catches up with you. The body doesn't forget, but you can make up for it. But the body doesn't forget. So if you eat badly, it will be there, but you still function, but eventually it might catch up. So, but what you're saying about, I know we're talking about young people. A lot of things that give them, obviously, trying to eat healthy, we have to let them know. And this kind of program like this, like to answer your question, more of stuff like this, having doctors that are really focused on this, having people go see their doctors, talk about primary care, talk about wellness, talk about things. Most people don't go to doctors unless they are dying or sick, but just having a visit, sit down with your doctor, let them ask you about your meals, how you're eating, or just go and say, hey, I want to lose weight, what do I do, stuff like that. That's what increases that. But definitely for talking about young people, I mean, what we see here is just the influx of drugs. and a lot of drugs that actually will cause cardiac events, just straight up. You know, they overdose on drugs, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot of that cumulative effect. It might not actually kill them immediately, but the destruction of the effect is there. So, and there's so many of unrestricted drugs coming into the market, even drugs that can't even make it into the Western world. Because they're coming through the back route, you know, but they get into our system. So I think actually drug is nearly an epidemic in the young people. If you're going to ask me what's my greatest concern as a health practitioner or even as a parent, is the drug, the ability to access drugs, you know, totally on. There's no, at least in other Western worlds, there's still people trying to track you down and do. It's totally on. I mean, it seems like totally on full access.
What about obesity?
Yes.
How does that affect the heart?
This topic we can do all day. Obesity. So, I mean, of course, it's important. Obesity, and I know just, you know, people talk about weight loss, weight gain as being the thing. It's definitely a direct cardiac event. So but more in obesity is actually the one that we've seen that is actually what we call abdominal obesity. Abdominal obesity has a direct correlation with cardiac events.
What does that mean?
So abdominal obesity means fat around the belly. So,
and in some men, it's hard.
Could be.
In fact, it's a sign of your wealth.
Yes, and it's a direct. I mean, we always say you hardly see older people with big bellies. People they die off. You don't see a 90-year-old man with an obese 90-year-old man because they're gone. You know, so it just kills them. So basically, I'm talking about numbers. Just to throw that out there, the waist size of a guy, anything 40 inches or less is where you want to be for a man, and 35 inches or less for a lady. How do you get your waist? How do you get your waist size? You just basically, I think it's easier to go around your belly button. Although we say there's a bone at the back of the iliac crest, you go around it, but for simplicity, put the tape rule around your belly button. Don't suck your stomach in. Release everything and see what you have. Anything above 35 for a lady, you're actually in the danger zone. Anything above 40 for a guy, you're in the danger zone. So if your waistband,
even if they're getting on in age,
yes, I guess yes, even worse than that. Again, yes, it's getting on in age because that's it's no excuse. But that's at least you know that's where it is. So when we talk about obesity, abdominal obesity is actually dangerous because that fat that's what we call visceral fat. That fat around the belly is not the same kind of fat you have on your arm, on your cheeks, and all those ones. That's not what kills you. A chubby cheek doesn't kill you. It's the fat in your belly that kills you.
It's interesting that you talk about this, especially for women, because quite a number of them, after childbirth, they seem to protrude.
Correct. I mean, yes, some of it might, if it's fat, because then it just needs to be taken care of. We need to pay attention to it. I mean, there's no way childbirth, even guys that don't have kids even get worse. Guys.
Well, we know about guys. We know where it comes from. Well, men have no excuses. But the women, that's the concern.
I mean, you might have. So some women might just be like might be loose skin from having. Maybe some of them have just because of pregnancy, skin stretch. Yeah, but skin is not, we're talking about fat. So if it's actually fat, yes, we have to deal with it. And it's easy to deal with. It goes back to the same thing. Healthy diet and exercise. I mean, these are the silver bullets for long life. If you can have those two things, and just to throw it in, just to just wrap it up. So it's just like I mentioned it, cholesterol, has to be watched. Those are the numbers. Cholesterol, total cholesterol less than 190. You have to, that's the number you want. You want to keep that going. The high blood pressure, you want to make sure your blood pressure, the top one at least should be 135 or below. And the bottom one should be about 80 or below, or 85 or below. So 135 over 85 is a blood pressure or below. Anything above that, once you're hitting 140 over 90, or 140, when the top one is 140, you definitely either you need to get on medications.
You need attention.
Yes, you need attention. So those are the risk factors for. But I say at the end of the day, if you're going to say it in one sentence, eat right and exercise. And maybe see your doctor, and you should
eat right and exercise. Every time we have a doctor in here, when they finish, we're sober.
Try not to.
Thank you very much, Dr. Roger Olade, critical care specialist, for coming to talk to us about this. I mean, you can see that I'm very sober right now. Thank you very much.
But you know what to do, right? Have I given solutions?
With these few words of yours, you have been able to
convince us.
Is it convince? Confuse us and not confuse us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sunrise will be right back with the home stretch in just a moment. Having stayed with us this long, you might as well just stay on.
We must do something. No, we got to do something now. Go Ibel. Like you look. Ọmọ kò lè máa lọ bá ẹ jọ. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o. Ohun tí ó dá ó dá. Ẹ má ṣàyè báṣubàṣu. Ó má lọ rí rádaràdà. Ó má lọ rí rádaràdà. Rédèrèdè má ló kú o. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o. Tó bá gbọ́dọ̀ rù mí ṣo mọ̀, màá gbá lápàrọ̀ ẹ wá gbà. Ohun tí o bá ti fẹ́, ohun gangan ni kò bá mi fẹ́. Èyí tí o bá ti kọ̀, dákun má fi lọ̀ mí ọ̀rẹ́ mi. Ẹni bá jáwé sẹ́nu, ó di dandan kó rí ìjà òdì. Ìka tó bá tọ́ sí mú, òun gangan la fi ń romú. Ẹ má ṣàyè báṣubàṣu, kó má lọ rí rádaràdà. Tó bá lọ rí rádaràdà, rédèrèdè mà ló kú o. Tó bá lọ rí rédèrèdè, játijàti mà ló kú o. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o. Ohun tí ó dá ó dá, ẹ má ṣàyè báṣubàṣu. Tó bá lọ rí rádaràdà, tó bá lọ rí rádaràdà, rédèrèdè mà ló kú o. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, bó sí o. Ó ti bójú, ó ti bá mú. Dirty things, preposterous, dirty things, musically, dirty songs, lyrically, dirty songs, ìkọkúkọ, ìsọkúsọ, orinkorin pẹ̀lú àṣàkáṣà tó ń kọ́mọ ọlọ́mọ ní ìṣekúṣe, ìmúkúmu, ìsọkúsọ tó ń kọ́mọ ọlọ́mọ ní ìwàkiwà. All these things are dangerous, morally dangerous, internet fraud, oh dangerous, àti yahoo yahoo, oh dangerous, kò bu ikú ní, oh dangerous, very destructive, dangerous. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, ohun tí ó dá ó dá, ẹ má ṣàyè báṣubàṣu, ó má lọ rí rádaràdà, ó bá lọ rí rádaràdà, rédèrèdè má ló kú o, ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, bó sí o. Now listen, don't do the codeine, don't do the cocaine, don't do the heroin, ignore the tramadol, shun that nicotine. Avoid methamphetamine, embrace a decent life. I say don't do the codeine, don't do the cocaine, drop that heroin, ignore the tramadol, leave that nicotine, avoid methamphetamine, embrace a decent life. Ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, ẹ bá mi ké bó sí o, ohun tí ó dá ó dá, ẹ má ṣàyè báṣubàṣu, ó má lọ rí rádaràdà, ó má lọ rí rádaràdà.
All right. I can tell you that Alero Edu is in Yoruba class.
I have been all morning.
But our guest this morning, as you have seen in that song, is Otumba Dr. Tunji Shotimiri. Born in Warri 60 years ago, to an account, born in 1960. Yeah. Thank you very much. An accountant father from Ogun State, mother from Ekiti State, born in Warri Delta State. You'll explain all of that, but he is a legendary actor, considered one of the godfathers of stage theater, musician, producer, lecturer, etc., etc. Thanks for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure always. You know, Ayo. My name is Ayo Makinde.
No,
Mimi Kenny. Sorry.
Well, have you dropped the question mark that you put behind your name?
It's very much there because, you see, it is for you to decide whether... But I know that I am walking. I have been walking since. When people say, Azim be walking, it's up to you. Decide, make up your mind.
So that's the reason.
Shotimiri.
Yes, that's the meaning of the name, Shotimiri. But that's a perspective to that.
That's right. That's on the surface. That's surface definition of meaning. It's deeper than that. Osho, just put Osho behind it and leave the message to those who understand. Osho Timi. That's it.
Oh, Osho is pushing me to work.
Absolutely, because we are saying the wizard, waxing stronger. That's my, what you call it, the literal translation. The wizard waxes stronger, you know, propels you to do well, you know, and that's it.
But not, is he still walking?
Not is it, that's why I'm saying that for the pedestal, what you call it, interpretation.
And you also decided to be controversial about it by putting a question mark.
Yes, so it's up to you to interpret it. Take your part of it, share, take your bit, take your palliative from my name.
Thanks for being here this morning.
Pleasure once again, pleasure.
After being on stage almost 40 years now? Or?
Yes, I was there, you know, during the last Christmas when...
Yes, I remember.
Yes, yes.
I said being on in stage drama. That's
okay.
Stage theater.
I was, during the last Muson Festival, which is an annual thing, October, last year, I was involved in Wale Soyinka's Child International, and another production of Samede, a Benin play, you know. So October, November, December last year was busy for me. And even before the students went on holidays, one of them wrote a script, and he said he wanted me to be a part of it. And that was a few months back. So I'm very much active on stage, very much.
And in the classroom too?
In the classroom. You know, so that's my life. I have no other life.
But this song that we just played now...
You don't seem sure of that.
Whether I have another...
You don't seem sure.
Whether I have another life.
Yes.
No, I was looking at those who may want to offer me their own...
Oh, really?
I don't know. But this...
Are you a cat?
Well, we are all cats in a way. You move around. I mean...
Now, you did this song titled Ibosi.
Yeah.
Which literally translates to scream or shout or
Yes.
call attention.
Or raise an alarm.
Raise the alarm.
That's right.
Why?
I love that question, AY. Now, the thing is, there is so much going on that is, we seem not to care. When I say we, a lot of us in the society have this attitude of, oh, these children have come again. Oh, allow them, but they are our children. And I always go back to that reality when I want to discuss this issue, that these children are our children. We cannot push them aside, condemn them. We need to embrace them, have what I call a counter-discursive engagement with what they bring to the table. And what they have brought to the table this time around, and this has been on for several years, but we seem to have adopted the attitude of, you know, yeah, it is their time. As an artist, I believe and I agree with the fact that we cannot continue to do the same thing the same way, because art is life is dynamic. So I agree that they cannot continue to do like Sonny Ade, Victor Owaifo, Barrister, Ayinla Omowura. They have to come with their own perspectives, interpretation, fresh ideas, which is good. And that is the thing about art. But there's no way that I personally will agree with, you know, when there's the importance of message cannot be overemphasized. Moral principles is something that you cannot dump. You know, no matter what you do, you cannot afford to cross to the other side. Maintain your lane, do your bit, but when you cross to the other side, before you, if you, that is, it will be the grace of God for you to now retrace your steps and come back to, you know, this other side.
But you know, a good number of people will also say that the same society literally produces such. You're talking about a song on drug abuse now. It's not the first. We've had quite a few. I remember a song by Femi Kuti. In fact, his debut was titled Search Yourself.
Yeah.
And that song was directly talking about drug use. How is society supposed to contribute to that, to ensure that we don't have to repeat the same message over and over again all the time?
Fantastic, Ayo. Thank you so much. You see, the thing is that we will use the means, the methods that we have in our possession to deal with the issue. And in my own case, I teach students, I interact with them, and I am using music, my art, my craft, my philosophical orientation as someone who has been deeply, involved with that education, that training, that enlightenment from roots that is rooted in my cultural environment. And there's no, and I want to use that every time, like I said, to discuss. Like I said, they are our children. But I always put it, for instance, if you watch that video, all of them are, students, those who participated in the music. Even the producer happens to be my student. Ife Oluwa Akinpelu, who owns a studio. And, they said to me, sir, we are with you on this. So if I can capture that category of people, and they use their own platform to spread the message, I'm satisfied.
But Doc, it is also said that creative people sometimes need substances to bring out their creativity. And it is widely believed that that industry uses a lot of those things you're campaigning against.
Yeah. That is one of the reasons why I said that the lyrical content of the musical composition is something that they need to refashion, to have a rethink about. Listen, there's something about the beats that these young people compose, the lyrical, the musical rendition, instrumental rendition is fantastic. Because even before you listen to the lyrics, you're already dancing to the beats. That is fine. So if people have accepted that your beat is good enough to respond to and be happy about and dance along, then why don't you just do something that will be lyrically, that will provide meaning to existence. It's so simple. I don't know why is it is so difficult for them to do that. I know that they have their cliques, they have their own groups that they want to, and people, they understand the language. But you see, that language is just going to sustain you for a while. You will, and I always say that you will still come back if you have the grace of God to be opportune to come back. Because if you cross over with those lyrics, it's dangerous.
Shouldn't we also lead on veterans like you? Forgive me for saying. You mentioned Victor Owaifo, King Sunny Ade, and of course in a little more in recent history than those are the Alex Souls, Alex Zitos, Onyeka Onwenu, and the rest of them. Even more recently, the Two-Face, and a good number of people in that generation. But things are the way they are now.
That's right.
So a good number of people will be wondering, isn't there a mentoring system in the music industry in the country? Or is it because there is an absence of a music industry that's made this opening happen?
Well, beyond mentoring these kids, the people who put money on these projects, empower them. They are the ones who think that, when they use the platform of the young people it will help them to promote, to project, and preserve that kind of mentality. I think apart from addressing the deficiencies, inadequacies, and the problems of the youth, people who put that money on reality shows, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, to say I have a lot of followership, they are the ones to actually address. And most significantly, Ayo and Auntie Alero. Media, this is why it's not because I am here on Channels Television. When I came up with this project, it's been, I released this work some months back, and it was Channel Television that said, this, bring it, let's talk about it. I mean, what is wrong with other platforms? And you now prefer to push these other ones that have virtually nothing to offer us in the society.
No value.
No value, almost every time. If we can do the campaign, and I say, have a counter-discursive engagement on a regular basis. Ayo is talking. Auntie Alero is talking. Patrick Doyle, who left here, is saying his own. The students' body who appreciate the values that I am bringing to them also have a platform to push it. Look at the massive procession to say, look, Mohab must get just, look at that crowd. If we could have that kind of crowd to say what actually went wrong with the problem of Mohbad. Then if you can interrogate that, you want justice, then let us begin to deal with the issues at the foundational level. And the youth should come and say, what actually went wrong with Mohbad? Was he he must have been treated in a way that did he augur well with his family, with his life, with his music?
But you and Ali Baba seem to share the same sentiments about looking at the issue of Mohbad or justice for Mohbad from a deeper perspective than what we have. But unfortunately, we're running completely out of time now. So what should we be expecting from Tunji Shotimiri, the artist, not Dr. Tunji Shotimiri, the lecturer?
No, leave Doctor alone. Me, I'm a performer. Academic is...
So what next do we expect from Tunji Shotimiri?
Brilliant. Like I told you, I'm still very active on stage, and I want to do more of this kind of musical composition. I am doing, for instance, we have a convocation every year in the University of Lagos, and I can guarantee you that people should watch out for the convocation play, right? Which Unilag we present. And we want to use that platform to also make statement about how we can combine the town and gown for nation building to correct some of these things, right? And on my last word would be Channels. I appreciate you. I thank you. I commend you. But other platforms should play this sort of music and every other type of music that, will present conversation about how we can condemn this sort of lewd lyrical content. It will not do us anything. It can only sustain you for a while. It is not sustainable. That's it.
Some people will say that you are essentially saying there is lyrical violence. Well,
absolutely.
Tunji Shotimiri, actor, performer, lecturer, producer, godfather of stage theater, one of the godfathers of stage theater. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
A pleasure, and I appreciate the two of you, and indeed everybody in Channels for being professional. I mean, kudos. Kudos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good. So
that's our show for today. As they say in our industry, it's a wrap.
Yes, it's a wrap.
And we look forward to being with you again next Saturday. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you a happy weekend and a blessed week ahead.
Someone said I didn't introduce myself earlier. My name is Ayo Makinde. So there you have it. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and bye for now.
Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser. Or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Channels Television. Ubiquitous.